Okay, welcome everybody. As usual, we are above and beyond professional around here. Apparently the audio didn't come through on the intro. Bart is fired, but don't go anywhere, Bart, because there's an opening. So welcome everybody once again. This is our little soiree, Conspiracy or Not, Here We Come. We're very pleased to be joined with Nils Ottensen this evening. And as usual, I've got my pal Bart and the lovely Amy. How's everybody doing?
Well, hanging in here. You might want to take Bart off screen share.
I did.
Oh, okay. Because I'm
take.
going, he's still there.
He's not highlighted. He's just still sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, there he goes. Okay, he's off now.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
So no audio on that?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, when he tried to share some audio with me on Skype the other day,
It didn't work.
we had an issue where the audio just did not come through, and I'm wondering if they aren't starting to filter.
No, I don't think so. It's probably just.
Well, let's
maybe.
hope not. Let's hope not, because it's just really, we could hear the background stuff going on at your place there,
Yeah,
Bart,
right.
just fine.
So anyway,
But there was no audio.
Nils, how are you doing? Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. Oh, I'm doing fine. And hello, Bart and Amy.
Hello, Nils. Welcome.
Hey,
We
Nils.
was, hi, Amy. I was talking last time about the 5G net, and you guys, you had the conversations about it. It's very popular on YouTube now to talk about 5G. But it's a very big system. It's a very big system. They're rolling out very fast. And unluckily for me here in Norway, they are already rolling it out. In my neighboring county, it's already, it's not turned on yet. They will turn it on 2018, next year. It's not so far away. But the equipment is installed. And the connection here, at least what my sources are saying, my source is actually my sister, you know. She's a mayor of one of these counties near here, and
Your sister is the mayor?
and she was saying, yeah, she's a mayor, and they are rolling out the self-driving car stuff, you know, and they need the 5G to make self-driving cars do it. It's they need to have the 5G because it need to be it need to be a very fast internet on the fly with cars. So this is how they're selling it here. They're selling it like it's supposed to be a good thing, that you have big trailers driving around without a driver, you know, on icy roads, over mountain passes and everything. It's just crazy, you know. But when I was starting to research 5G, I was discovering much more. This is a big Trojan horse, and only the radiation from the smart meters is unbearable for people. They're getting sick, you know. The red blood cells start to stack up, you know, and people are feeling bad, you know, after just a few minutes. And we was getting commercials here in the mail, you know, because I already 2 times now have been declining the smart meter, you know. on the grounds of health damage, you know, and they are saying no, it's perfectly safe, you know, and I said to them, just come with the papers, you know, just show me the research that is making this, you know, safe to have in the house.
Not that I would trust, but even if they did show it to you.
Yeah, but you know, I will.
If they showed you
accept
something,
it.
I wouldn't trust it.
No, of course not. But they will try, and they're even saying we will bring the police, you know.
Oh, really?
But of course they can.
They threaten you with the, you know, what, charges because you didn't want the smart meter?
No, I think they will come together with the police, together with
them. To force you to just have it installed, but.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that will never happen, you know.
Huh.
So, I was telling my neighbor. Yeah, I was telling my neighbor, you know, because they are on the round. We are just in the thick of it now with installing smart meters, and we was having a date. I think 18 of December. We had an appointment to come to install smart meters. I think he have the same date, you know. So I was telling him he need to refuse, you know, but he said, what is the danger of the smart meters? He didn't hear anything, you know. It's nothing on the news, you know, and he's not sitting on YouTube and following all these different people who have discovered the health risks, you know. So he will think about it. I don't know. I didn't talk with him, you know, but probably he will get cold feet, you know, because I said to him, just postpone it if something, you know. Wait for 6 months to have it installed. Look how the other people will react to it, because people will get sick, you know, from the smart meters. Because the radiation is so strong. But the 5G net on the road, it's adjustable, you know. They can amplify the signal, and they can aim the signal. That's how you get the fast fiber line on the fly when you're driving a car.
Really?
But if you look at the cabling on boxes, you know, it's very, very big. It's a very big quadrat on the cable, so they have a lot of electricity they can push into these boxes, you know. So this 5G can certainly be deadly if they want it to be. They can adjust it up until they grill you, because it's when you're looking at the military application of the millimeter system, they use it already as a crowd control device. They can turn it up until it's have a burning sensation on the skin. But that is just half the story, because they can turn it up much, much more.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they weaponized it back in the mid 50s, I think. I mean, they've known about this since the late 30s and early mid 40s. They've known about the effects, the biological effects, going all the way back to the 40s, as far as I know.
Yeah, and they did a lot of ground studies in the 70s, and these studies is still there, you know, and this shows how deadly this millimeter wave can be, and they can even turning up to centimeter waves, because they will use the full spectrum now. When FCC chairman Tom Wheeler is talking about this, he's saying we just want to free up space, you know, because we know that the 4G system is on this and this bandwidth, and this will be full, you know, because when we turn on the Internet of Things, you know, it will be too crowded. We need more space. So that's why they're saying we will go into the realm of the millimeter wave and to the centimeter wave if we have to. And the centimeter wave will be used for emergency and stuff like that.
Well, you know, it bothers me because they already have a system in place right now that does a pretty fair job handling all the cell phone calls, all the streaming videos, everybody on their tablet, on their computer, all the things that people use the internet for business. I myself, just 2 days ago, I bought a home surveillance system for the house here. I haven't installed it yet, but it is Wi-Fi based. And once it's installed, I can hook it up to my Wi-Fi and then get an app from my phone. And anywhere I am in the world, I can watch my surveillance cameras in real time. So it's just another thing that's going to be added to the system. Pretty soon you won't be able to buy a refrigerator that's not hooked up. It won't work if you don't hook it up to the internet. That's how these things go. It's kind of like we all remember how the incandescent light bulbs were phased out for the mercury bulbs, right? The dangerous, don't dare break one or you have to call freaking hazmat. And then they moved to the LED bulbs, right? So it used to be, you know, 79 cents for a light bulb, and then it went to $7 freaking for a light bulb. It's just one of those things. So eventually they're going to phase out everything that we use now, including your washing machine, your stove, your oven, your refrigerator, your microwave, your vacuum cleaner. And what was it that guy said? We were talking with Annie Logical a couple of weeks ago. Does anybody remember the name of that guy who he said pill bottles, right? He said everything from smart meters to pill bottles is going to have an RFID chip. They're going to connect and talk to each other. All these little RFID chips will talk to each other. They'll all connect to the internet, to the system in real time. I remember many years ago, and probably a lot of you guys do too, the Aaron Russo interview where he described speaking with David Rockefeller. And he said way back then, and so this is 15, maybe 20 years ago, where he said, they told him the plan was that everybody gets a chip, and he says, you won't be able to buy or sell, that everything is going to have an RFID chip. I've seen other lectures, documentaries, videos describing how the RFID chip production is now so inexpensive that what's going to happen in the very near future is every single product you buy, everything is going to have its own individual RFID chip. And I remember a video a long time ago. It was, you know, one of those, you know, kind of fear porn videos where there, you know, it was a little bit frightening undertones and all that. But they were talking about eventually you'll go to the store and you'll buy a 6-pack of Coca-Cola. And not only will there be an RFID chip representing the 6-pack, but each individual can will have its own RFID chip. So say, for instance, you come over to my house and I offer you a soda pop. I give you a Coca-Cola. And, you know, you halfway through finishing it and, okay, I got to go. Thank you. See you later. You take the Coke and maybe, you know, you put it in the back of your pickup truck or something after you finish the Coke, and maybe it flies out of your car for some reason. Maybe it falls out when you step out of the vehicle and you didn't know it, right? It winds up on the street corner, and then one of those automated street sweepers, a street cleaner, comes by, picks it up, scans it, detects it. So it identifies that can as having been held by you because you have a chip in your hand. The Coca-Cola can has a chip on the can. The two chips, when they're in proximity, they speak to each other. The can now recognizes that you were the last one to have it. So if it winds up on the street for whatever reason, the street sweeper machine picks it up, scans it, detects it that was yours, and then they send you a ticket in the mail for littering. You know, it was an extreme example, but it was, I mean, we're kind of headed towards something freaking really weird like that.
Yeah, And that is exactly right, Aaron. But they will not send the ticket in the mail.
It's
It will
just
just be deducted straight from
creepier
your
and
card.
creepier.
That's right. That's right. Because we're gonna talk about the Bitcoin, the AI, and the whole shebang. What I'd like to do now, normally what I like to do at the beginning of these shows is I just I jot down some notes for some news stories and things that catch my attention throughout the week. A couple of things just to bring to y'all's attention, maybe get your comments on. I've got a few of them here, actually. Let's see. Have you guys heard lately that this character, Don Johnson, Kentucky representative, accused of molesting a teenage girl, was found near a bridge? He's dead, and the coroner said that he likely killed himself.
I hadn't heard, but
that's a Kentucky lawmaker, Representative Don Johnson from Kentucky, found dead near a bridge, and the coroner says he likely killed himself.
Another suicide, yeah.
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 You know, just a couple of days before I heard that, there was a San Francisco mayor, the mayor of San Francisco, and I don't have his name, but the mayor of San Francisco apparently collapsed in a department store of an apparent heart attack.
Yep, I had heard that.
So all that has happened just this week. So it's a little bit curious that there's all these sexual allegations going around. This guy, Don Johnson, accused of molesting a teenage girl, kills himself. His body is found near a bridge. I'm not buying that story. Not buying that story at all. And
no.
Go ahead. No, just go ahead. You just have to jump in and speak up, and I'll stop talking.
Yeah. I think people who are involved, because it's so much people involved in these operations. We need to understand that all society around us is run by the Freemasonry, and that is how they control all society. You know, when a person take a university education, you know, you will straight become on the list, you know, over people they want to have in the lodge, you know, and this is because a university education normally will lead you into a position that you will have some say, you know, some power, somewhere in society, and they are recruiting everyone who have something to say. It's just crazy, and in Freemasonry it's always secrecy, and you can't break the secrecy.
Right.
If you break the secrecy and start to have cold feet, you know, you will be sentenced to death, you know, and this is what's happening with all these strange cases of suicide and accidents and everything. They're just being bumped up by the Freemasonry.
Well, here's an interesting headline. We probably have all heard of the opioid epidemic of heroin and opioids, and also the pharmaceutical opioid, deaths from pharmaceutical opioids. Aetna, the gigantic insurance company Aetna. Here's just a brief headline. Aetna won't charge copay for opioid overdose. How nice. How nice. So if you overdose on opioids, won't charge you the copay. How nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like
Just a head scratcher.
Afghanistan is the place where they produce all this stuff, you know, and the production just doubled, you know.
It more than doubled. It more than doubled.
Yeah, more than doubled. And
the Taliban
you know,
had almost completely wiped out opium production, poppy production, and then immediately after we entered Afghanistan, following 9/11, there were images that came out pretty quickly within a year or two after the crops were grown, and that you could see. Anybody curious, you can just go online and type in "U.S. soldiers protect poppy fields," And there they are. We know we're
Yep.
so they're guarding the poppy fields, and we know that the CIA is the largest drug running corporation or cartel in the world. So yeah, we know about it. Okay,
Yeah.
here's one. The World Bank announces it will no longer finance oil and gas projects after 2019. Now, we've heard about the Rockefellers and other big shots divesting in oil and gas. So now this comes from the World Bank. They will no longer finance oil and gas projects. Here's another one. And by the way, if you guys have something to say, just start talking and I'll shut up. The Pentagon, the Defense Department, the Department of Defense is getting its first agency-wide audit in its history. Now, in 1996, a law was passed that all federal agencies were mandated to conduct regular financial audits. The DoD has never complied, and I'm telling you guys right now, don't hold your breath.
Yeah, really.
They have promised this before, usually every year. Oh, we're going to do it. We're going to audit. You know, we're going to do it. They never do. Trillions and trillions of dollars are missing, and no audit whatsoever. No audit of the Fed.
Nope.
I think it was 2004. Janet Yellen from the Federal Reserve said that they were missing. What was it 7.9 trillion, or
7.9 now? Yeah.
Or was it the other way around? Was it 9.7 trillion? I can't remember, but you know.
I don't know. It was a big number.
We all know about the 2.3 trillion that was missing on the day before 9/11. So, yeah, Donald Rumsfeld says, yeah, we just don't know what we did with 2.3 trillion. And the next day, 9/11. So, you know, water under the bridge.
Just to hide the fact, I think I have a background from the oil industry. I was actually working 18 years offshore on oil rigs in the well intervention, supervisor there. And I think the reason all the oil industry in Norway is tanking now because they are it's like they're turning down the
production.
Turning down the oil production, and it must have a reason. And when it's coming up in the news that they don't want to finance projects in the future, you know, I think this have to do with the people reduction. I think they will. They have been planning this very in small detail, and I think they are so good running on this that they think they can reduce the population so much that it will not be so much people that need the petrol for the cars. So I think that's the reason.
Yeah. Here's one that's.
I got one. Can I jump in with the depopulation agenda? There's a part of me that thinks you know, it doesn't actually make sense. The idea of getting rid of so many people, because so much money is made off so many people. Go
ahead, Bart, finish.
Oh yeah. But what I do think might be happening is the idea of depopulation of certain people and some people in order to move other people into those positions or you know, to take over for them.
Yes.
So I would say anybody that's in the, you know, uninitiated upper middle class that has wealth, has property, would probably be the most targeted for removal. And then but in terms of sheer numbers, I don't necessarily buy the you know, 90%, 95% depopulation rhetoric. Just wanted to throw that out there.
I have a feeling that they're moving into a new phase, and I understand what you're saying about the money, that they make all that money off of us and whatever. I think that they're just getting ready. They're almost everything is in place, man. All the pieces are falling into place. I think they're moving to a new phase of operation of how they're going to manage humanity. And you make a good point, Bart, but I just think that there's a new phase on the horizon, and I don't think that the way things are running now is the way things are going to be ran in the future. But
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I think, whoa, what I think is that right now it's not that they are concerned about making money off of us per se, but making sure we don't have much in the way of money, number one, because the psychopaths in control whenever they feel like it.
that's right. This isn't about
So
money.
it's not about making money off of us. It's about controlling us, which is a psychopathic thing.
That's right.
The control over others.
That's right. And money is the main tool so far that they have used. But we're about to move into a new phase where they'll be able to control us without the need of physical money.
Well, there you go, and that's kind of what I'm saying is why reduce the population if the grid is going to be in place to control everybody anyway. And my argument would be something like the people with the most amount of money currently essentially have the most resources, the most opportunity. Therefore, they're the biggest threat. Therefore, yeah, and I would agree. If you can print money, you don't need to steal money. That's yeah. I wanted to add that to my argument.
Well, they want to get rid of the useless eaters. They want a communistic system where they can get to decide when a baby is born that the state will raise it, and then they'll decide what job you'll have for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's very
once the useless eaters
combination 19-Brave New World.
Yeah. All right, so
this is the. I don't think Tom Wheeler is lying when he's saying we will make billions on this 5G, because the 5G will tax everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gigantic taxing system, so they will turn the economy around, to start to tax people to death. They will not run like before. You can have a job, you can have an income, and they can have a taxation rate. So you will pay in a certain amount of money, and this will run society. As long as you have loans in the bank, everything is fine. Because when you go to a bank, you sit down and you take a loan. They are making up this money from thin air. It just takes 10-15 minutes to make $1 million, and you need to use the next 20 or 30 years to pay it back, So I don't think money is the problem, because they have all the money. They have,
right.
We only have 5% of the money, the rest they have, They have 95% of the money. So I don't think they will look at it that way, that they will go after the rich, to get the money, because they can just print more.
Yes,
but
exactly.
They will subjugate us, And if you're looking at communists, because this is a communist takeover, and they always, they always start to bump people off, They always start camps, They're sending millions and millions of people to camps, They did it in China, they did it in Russia, They will certainly do it in America, And because it's the same people ruling, It's the same elites, They just, but now they have all this new technology, and now they finally have a chance, to roll out the new world order. You remember when Senior Bush was saying this, we have a chance to start the new world order, or to roll out the new world order. And the new world order is a special thing, because you need to know what the old world order is. And the old world order was the conditions before the Great Flood. When everything was destroyed, by the fallen ones, they had been mating with people, they had been mating with animals, everything was corrupted, And only 8 people survived this flood on this boat, and all humanity was started again, from scratch, But the fallen angels, they didn't drown, of course, but the offspring they had, all the millions of offspring they had, they was drowning. And when they're talking about communicating with the other side, they are communicating with these entities, the demons, because a demon is a dead person, that the soul of the dead person, that is a demon, you know. A dead person that is coming from a fallen angel and been corrupted, you know. That is and and the New World Order, you see the fallen ones, they communicate with them, and they have been making all these elites rich, and that's why they have all this satanic stuff, you know. That is why this pedophilia and all this other stuff, you know, because this is their religion, you know. They worship fallen angels, and the fallen angels is against God's rules. So they do everything opposite, you know.
I've got a slightly different take on that. We discussed that a little bit last week, I think, when I brought up Sabbatai Zevi and the redemption through sin, followed 100 years later by Jacob Frank, which is known as the Sabbatean Frankist movement of the Jewish tradition, starting in the year 1666, where they believed that in order for the Messiah to return, that a couple of conditions had to be met, and one of those conditions was that all of mankind had to be either one of two things: either everyone's a saint or everyone is a sinner. And Jacob Frank particularly said that to the Jewish followers of the time, he said, look, we can't all be saints, so let's all be sinners. And the concept, the idea was that what they're trying to do is hasten the return of the Messiah. Now, my personal opinion is there is no such thing. There's no real Messiah. What this whole ball of wax is about is a gigantic mind fuck, the big game that's supposed to involve all of the people that are religious who do believe it. Now, I've heard numerous times, many people on YouTube, all the truthers or whatever, you know, research people, I don't care, call it what you want. People will say, look, I don't care if you believe in religion, but they do, right? We've said it ourselves. Yes. And you've all heard it, that doesn't matter what you believe, they do believe it. Well, I don't think that's true. I don't think they do believe it. I think they're playing a game to get the minds of all the little people in the world who actually do believe it. Because once again, this is about control.
Yeah, using the scriptures as a playbook.
Right. Again, this is all about controlling the masses. I genuinely don't think, and again, this is just my opinion. There's no need to argue. It's just my opinion. I genuinely do not think that the elites of the world, as evil and twisted and satanic as they are, I don't think they actually believe it. I think this is a big, giant play, and it's all a stage, and it's all for us. It's all for the little people who are very religious zealots, and the people that do believe it. That's who it's for.
Yeah. I don't think we need to be agreeing on everything, because that would be crazy. Sure. You know, we have a lot of different viewpoints, you know, but we're all out to find the truth about things, you know. So we need to start in one end, you know, and try to work through it. But when you see on the chemtrailing, you know, you have barium and strontium and aluminum, you know, raining down on us, and you need to ask why. Is it just to damage the crops, you know? Is it just to make the health of people bad, you know? I think it's one more reason, one big reason, and that is when you're using the 5G system. If people have a lot of these metals in the body, they will highlight themselves.
That's right.
On the 5G net.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. When you're inhaling, inhaling atomized particles of aluminum, and then what's the term? It's called bioaccumulation, where these metallic particles, they get in the body and your body can't get rid of them, and so they get stuck in various organs. They get stuck in the collagen of your skin. And so, yeah, when they turn on the 5G system, if they want to microwave you, they can cook you right on the spot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they know where you are 24/7.
That's the really scary part.
Yeah, and I think they want to do that, and they will start with the people that, like in all communist
They'll start with
countries,
people like
you
me
know.
and you.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
And
they will start with those of us who see.
yeah, you start with the dissidents, you know.
All right.
Yep.
And the Internet of Things, you know, they talk about the Internet of Things. We are the things. It's just they want to all the, you know, when Tom Wheeler is talking about, you know, we will communicate with the plant waterers and pill bottles.
Tom Wheeler,
you know.
that's the guy.
Yeah, Tom Wheeler. He's a Satanist, of course.
Plant bottles to plant waterers, yes.
Yeah, everything in the house. But the point is when, yeah, pill bottles. The point is when you have a house, devices is actively communicating back and forth. You will be fried, you know.
Yeah.
You will be fried with microwaves. And when you go out of the house and you take your car for a drive, you will be fried by millimeter waves.
Yeah.
And the millimeter waves, all this, because we need to understand that that this radiation, this electromagnetic radiation, is accumulating in the body. And the smaller you are in size, you more damage you get. So the kids will be first, you know.
Oh, that's right.
And it's yeah.
No, go ahead, finish.
In the classrooms now, the school here, you know, it was a renovated school. They have all electronics now. They have electronic locks on the doors. They have a nice new fence around the school. You know, they have Wi-Fi. You know, Wi-Fi in the school, and on the new school buses is also Wi-Fi via Bluetooth. You know, and my daughter was going there, and she was complaining about headache. You know, almost every day. You know, she get a headache. And I was asking her, is it only in school you get a headache? No, she get a headache in the bus. And when you're having a new car, you know, you need always to go into the menu and turn off the Bluetooth, you know, because it's standard in on position when you have a car, you know, we have a new car. Because if not, you will be bathed in radiation, even if you're not using Bluetooth or something like that. It will be just. And the car works as a Faraday cage, and it will be this accumulation in the car will be unbearable, you know. And that's why a lot of people getting cancer, because they are in an environment that they don't understand.
Las Valdez is in the chat. He just said the body is the weapon, the mind is the horse, the self.
Wagon, not weapon.
Thank you. The body is the wagon. The mind is the horse, the self is the rider. Man, know thyself. Las Valdez, I watched your last video, and I heard that you decided not to upload videos anymore. That's a shame, buddy. We like you, and we like your content. We like the way you think, and so hopefully you'll maybe change your mind. But I totally understand your position. Anyway, let me lighten the mood just a little bit here. Try to move forward with some more of these little headlines here. This character, David Froome, F-R-U-M-E, I think is spelled. He's the speechwriter for George W. Bush. And if you remember the phrase axis of evil, this is the guy who came up with that phrase, axis of evil, right? Okay, so check this out. We know that the media is, you know, they're taking quite a beating these days. CNN is caught on a regular basis fabricating and lying. Fox News has stayed out of it for a while. They've, you know, managed to avoid the heat lately. Right now, the focus is mostly on CNN and their bullshit. But check this out. On CNN's reliable sources, sit back and scratch your head on that, you know, show topic, is the guy who came up with the phrase axis of evil. And, you know, that's funny and absurd enough, the reliable sources title. Anyway, the host, Brian Stelter, his opening monologue talking about the media. And by the way, this comes right on the heels of when CNN and some of the other major outlets had falsely reported the that article where they screwed up the date from what was it, the 1st to the 14th. You guys, you know what I'm talking about? The Trump tweet or no, the information that came from WikiLeaks. You guys know what I'm talking about? Okay,
I think vaguely.
All right, well, this comes right on the heels of that. He says, if you haven't heard this, you got listen, you guys. If you haven't heard, you might want to sit down and make sure you're not eating or drinking so you don't choke. Okay, nobody choke. Brian Skelter said, "Quote: The mistakes are precisely the reason people should trust the media."
That is just crazy.
Right. It's because they don't tell the truth that we should trust them. Okay.
Everything is upside down, yeah?
Yep. We are through the looking glass.
Yeah, we are through the looking glass. Now we're on the other side. So good is evil and evil is good, you know. If they lie, that is good. If you talk the truth, that is very bad. They will come after you.
Apparently.
All the channels, you know, I don't know how many, but I lost a lot of my subscriptions, you know. I don't produce material myself, you know. I comment a lot, you know, but the background for that is my computer. I had a very, very good computer before, you know. I had a very good, the biggest Dell computer you can have, water cooled. I had it in, I think, 2010, something like that. It was 2 terabytes, and that was a big computer at that time. But I was infected with some viruses that was going straight through all the firewalls. It was actually non-detectable, and it crashed the hard drives, you know. And I can hear a lot of people who have YouTube channels. You can hear the fan, you know, racing in the background when they're speaking, and that was the same that happened with my computer, you know. And I was taking this computer to specialists, you know, and they was going through, and they couldn't find the reason why this computer hard drive was crashing, you know. And of course, I had several computers since, but everyone was crashing. So I'm trying to get off this smart addiction, you know. So that's why I don't have a laptop or a computer now, because they will infect it, you know, and crash it.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, let me go ahead, Bart.
I was gonna say it's the next level of planned obsolescence. It's sort of targeted obsolescence, wherein they might build in back doors, not might. So these back doors are built in where they're open to attack from any number of factions for any number of reasons, but the overall, like one of the overall games there is, well, you break it, you liked it, you want another one, well, you got to go buy another one, or you got to pay somebody to fix it, and so it's a money-making scam in a sense.
And harassment, you know. You can, of course, I could
disruption.
If I was, you can buy a laptop today with a hard drive. You can just click it off and take it off and put it in your safe, you know, if you want to save material. But the problem is we are playing on their ball ground, you know. The internet and all the electronic devices we have is made by them.
Yeah,
they're doing what they want, you know. They have no limits. They just want to harass you as much as they think is necessary. So I think we need to, at some point, we need to actually to drop all the smart devices. At least because they will come after us.
Well, I agree, and we can come back to that point because one of our show supporters, New Being, is in the chat right now. She left me a couple of comments, and forgive me, but I think that's a female, New Being. Pardon me if I got that wrong. Asked if we would discuss possible solutions to what's ahead of us right now, so we can come back to that. And also, New Being also gave me something really curious and interesting to look at, and I'm going to share that in just a moment. But I want to read this article for those of you in America, and particularly Alabama. You might be concerned about this a little bit. Alabama, and this is a headline, Alabama will give names of crossover voters to prosecutors. The names of Alabama voters who crossed party lines to vote in last month's Republican Senate runoff will be given to prosecutors by the state election chief. Now, this is reported by AP, and again, the headline for anyone who wants to look it up, Alabama will give the names of crossover voters to prosecutors. Montgomery, Alabama, from the Associated Press. The names of Alabama voters who crossed party lines to vote in last month's Republican Senate runoff will be given to prosecutors, the state elections chief said Friday. Secretary of State John Merrill said his office has identified 674 people who voted in the Democratic primary and later voted in the GOP runoff in violation of the state's new crossover voting ban. Merrill said the plans to send the names to the Attorney General and District Attorney after local election officials checked the list for errors. The move signals a hardline approach to the new state law used for the first time in the U.S. Senate runoff that adds fraudulent crossover voting to the list of other felony voting crimes.
Oh my God.
Allow me to repeat that. The move signals a hardline approach to the new state law that adds fraudulent crossover voting to the list of other felony voting crimes.
Yeah, you need to stay.
Is anybody pissed
you need
off
to be
yet?
loyal to the party, you know.
I mean, I mean, is anybody fucking pissed off yet? Where are
Well,
the pitchforks and torches?
I've been pissed off, but I'm not pitchforking and torching. I'm withdrawing my consent, and I'm consenting to better. I don't consent to that whole messy system. It's BS. It has no hold on me. I've got a much better system to consent to. Ergo, I do.
Well,
yeah, I don't think anyone should vote. You know, it's just a fraud. You know.
Yeah. Well,
when you look at this,
when you register to vote, when you register anything, you are giving it to the state, the king, the whatever.
Yeah.
The system.
You're giving it to the crown because the term registry is regis.
In exchange for some privilege. And in the case of registering to vote, you are giving yourself
That's right.
sovereignty
That's right.
to them in exchange for the privilege of wasting time in a booth. Because down, they don't care. They're going to tell you.
Well, it's not a waste of time. It kind of depends on what you do in there.
Well, I'm not even going to touch that part. But you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let me, am I sharing? Has everybody got my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I want to show you something that New Being sent me just literally about 2 hours ago. Here I am on Google, and in the search bar, I've got Google Translate. Okay. So I just want to go to the Google Translate page to translate one language to another. And I want to get your thoughts on this. I want to try to break this down because there's 1 or 2 videos out there that show this. I think one is a mirror of the other, but somebody put out a video. Now watch this. As you can see on the left-hand side here, let me just expand this out just a little bit so you guys get a good look. Watch this. If this doesn't blow your mind, because I mean, my socks nearly came right off. Okay, as you can see on the left-hand side, I've chosen from the list of languages, okay? I've chosen Somali, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, watch this. I'm going to enter text. EE, space, EE, space, EE. People worship, space, PE. Here are the times, space, PE. People from all walks of life. Lift up your eyes. Worshiping the people. People from all over the world. Worshipped people from all over the world. People from all over the world. Worshipping all around the people. People from all over the world. Then here it stops, and you just do this a couple more times. Watch. Watch. This is going to get creepy. Watch. People who live in idol worship. Worshippers of the nations. To worship the people of Israel. Rarely be worshipped in the nations of the nations. Sermon on the Mount of Bounty. Rarely be worshipped in Jehovah's name. All people of the nations who lived in the land of Israel. Rarely be worshipped in the nations of the inhabited earth. And then it does this, and then oops, let me get rid of that comma. Here we go. Towards the rest of the people of Israel who lived in the land of Israel. Earthly people are worshiping the people of the land. Towards the people of Nineveh in the 12th year of Euphrates. I want to worship you people and enjoy the people of Israel. What the fuck is this? I want to worship the people of the land of Israel and to the people of Israel. You just keep adding PE, as you can see what I'm doing here. I lived in a city called the people of Israel. Sodom of Judah and Judah. What the fuck? Rarely lived in the land of Israel. Believe in God's name, worship the people of Israel, and enjoy God's favor. Believe in God's peacekeeping.
So is there any significance that it's switched?
I have to wonder how this ever got discovered.
Thank you, Amy. I was thinking exactly that. Because first of all, who would go to translate and just type in PE space, PE space, PE space? And second of all, there's a list of here, all these languages that you can choose from for translation. You had to go to Somali to find this, to make it work. I'm wondering too how the hell this was even discovered. But the more, I mean, you can just keep on going with this, and it just gets creepier. Believe in the Sermon on the Mount of Bounty.
This is code language. This is beep, 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 beep. This is what you hear from radio, what you hear from TV, what you hear, you know.
Believe in a person.
This is,
Believe in a person who is not a Christian or a Christian. Go ahead, finish that thought, Nils.
Yeah, this is a code language. This is, you had, I believe you had a program about this, Russian, this sender wave, you know, this woodpecker signal, you know. And this reminds me of a woodpecker signal, you know.
Mm-hmm.
How many times it's repeated, this translates to a message. How can this be in Google Translates if it's not programmed in?
It's not. I'm trying it over here on the side. It's not working for me in the same way.
But I think Google, you know, Google is already taken over by AI. The translation bit, I think so. So yeah. if you put in the woodpecker signal there, Aaron, you will get the messages through that the brain will accept as messages, and I think that's what you have on the screen there.
Well, I just find it striking that
it's oddly specific.
It's oddly specific. Thank you, Bart. Thank you. It's oddly the majority of these responses and translations have to do with Israel and religion, being born of the people of Israel in the light of the present day of
and worshiping them. By the way, it's working for me.
Now, I mean, this would be like one of these interesting things to try to track down, right? So if you consider that all of Google Translate is translating every word from every language into every other word from every other language, right? So if you were, I don't know, an artsy coder type person, you could write a script that would somehow do this, and then as a, I don't know, publicity stunt kind of a thing, you know, leak it, and then it's happening, and then people are talking about it. So for me, it's not entirely like so weird and exotic if I think of it that way. But again,
it can be just a mind game, you know. It can be just because they do it all the time. They want to screw with people, and especially the truth movement. So they, from time and time again, they come up with these crazy things, you know, and just to make people, you know, fight it out or discuss it or waste the time, you know, is the right word.
Yeah. You know, our pal Dominic,
Can be.
my good friend Dominic is in the chat right now, and he said Pepe in simple gematria equals 42.
Okay.
Oh.
And
that's interesting.
Yeah, 42.
Okay, it's funny. I didn't even see the Pepe in there, right?
Yeah, 42 is the same as 44, you know.
I saw the Pepe, yeah. It equals 42. It's 22 in Jewish reduced, which is significant. It's 130 in Jewish, which is 13. It's 16 in septenary, which is another interesting number. Let me see if I can find any others. And we have the 396 in reverse Sumerian, which is your 369963 combo. And it's 86 in the KFW Kabbalah.
Well, hey, Dominic just pointed out that Pepe, which is P-E-P-E, and what I was doing is I was going P-E space P-E space P-E. So in other words, Dominic points out 21 for P-E and 42 for Pepe.
Yeah.
So 21 is blackjack.
Yeah, the devil.
Yep. By the way,
I just can I before I go on, right? So mine's not working because, and I guess it's because the little thing that I saw underneath there, it says Somali, and then under there it went to Romanian. Did y'all notice that?
It didn't do it for me.
Yeah,
nope.
that's what was on screen. So what you were showing,
Somalia.
It was Somali, and then underneath that it said translating to Romanian.
Oh, translate from Romanian. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I just chose Somali and I just started typing. I didn't notice.
Right. But I'm just saying, why did that Romanian aspect pop up, right? So I think that's also an intriguing wrinkle. If this thing is okay, I don't consider anything a waste of time if you are able to extract some ideas from it.
Sure.
If it's a puzzle and it leads to some connection that you wouldn't have made if you weren't messing with the puzzle, and that connection is valuable to you in whatever your work, your life, then great. Time not wasted. Granted, there are all those operations of distraction and all of that, and when we're looking at other people, what are you doing? You're wasting your life. You're totally distracted with this nonsense stuff, right? But that sort of presupposes that you have some ideas on how better they should spend their time. Some of those might be valid. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to point out something. As I'm typing along, I'm doing it a little more slowly. I'm not just typing PE. I'm typing in P and then E. And when I hit the P, like here, I've got People's Democratic Party. And then I hit the E and it changes to people who live in idol worship. And then space P. And it changes to Sermon on the Third Day. So there's more to it than just the PE.
Ah, so if you're just going one letter at a time, it's different. Cool.
Yeah, it
What?
fills in with more stuff. So
Interesting.
I may sit and play with it at some point and just document what all comes up.
Mm-hmm.
But why do they translate this PE to this scriptures, you know? Because the Google Translate, that's artificial intelligent computer.
Mm-hmm.
So why in the world should it translate PE to something totally different? It must be as if you put on the vocal sound. What do you hear when you've been typing all this PE? What is the sound of this PEP? Is it electrical sound or is it a person saying PE?
You mean pip 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 pip?
Yeah, try to push the button to hear the sound of what you've been writing in Somalia.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know either. But it's very strange.
Yeah, that was. I don't know. I mean, New Being showed me that in a video, and I was a little bit surprised. And then I tried it myself, and I got virtually the same results. And New Being asked if we would break it down, and I suppose we have. I think that we've gone about as far as we can. We can just speculate as to how and why. It's a language thing. It could be a coding thing. And I keep going back to what Amy said, which was my original thought. How was this discovered in the first place?
Yeah, it was probably leaked, you know.
See, I thought that. I thought that.
And probably leaked deliberately. That's my guess.
Yeah. They do it all the time, you know. These are, you
absolutely.
know,
I call it breadcrumbs for truthers.
Okay, so wouldn't it be interesting to see? Okay, like is it a rabbit hole, right? So, what happens after the 1000th iteration of it? I know what I'm doing tonight.
Well, you know, in terms of translation, it couldn't possibly be a translation because I don't believe for 1 second that there's any language in the world that has a saying that goes like this.
Of course.
Which means the people of Israel worship the sun. You know what I mean? So, no fucking way. It makes no sense. So it's got to be a coding thing. It's got to be.
Yeah, it has to be. But what is it? Where is it leading to? What? So
what's the point?
Right.
Yeah. What's the point?
So, what's the point? The point is to make us talk about it, you know.
Yeah. Could be, Nils, could be. I coined the term breadcrumbs for truthers, and I find them all over the place. They're designed for people like us who like to dig into rabbit holes, and it's designed to just gobble up our time.
Here's an interesting one that comes in on one of the P's without the E. I live in the city of Judaism in the United States. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, I think it might be like a Pepe meme hack kind of a thing, right? So somebody writes this in, injects it into some corner of the AI, and then this is how it gets accessed, and then it leads people to these discussions of. Maybe this is a way of deciphering something else down the line, or it could be a clue within a puzzle string or something like that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Although it's not working for me. Maybe it's because I'm on a Mac.
It probably you don't have the latest software update. It's in the updates, you know.
Okay.
They program stuff in the updates, you know, and they dump it into your computer, and you're getting. You're getting stuff in that wasn't there before.
Yeah, I got it to change from. It did the Somali to translate from Romanian thing. It does that when I do it in Chrome. It didn't even do it when I was in Safari. So there's some difference there. But I'm only getting PE, and then it translates it to capital PEs. That's all that it's doing here on my So it's computer specific, device specific. I don't know.
Yeah,
interesting. We should maybe
it's a
gonna become
program,
thing.
you know. It's something programmed in, because if you don't have it in one of the browsers, you know, that means it's on the in the updates, you know. So this is something they deliberately dump into the computer when it's being updated, you know, with a new lie, you know, in the endless string of lies. The ICANN. The ICANN, UN and China, they took over the governing of the internet from 1st of October 2016. You know, this was Barack Obama's legacy. You know, to YouTube and the internet. You know, you need to have experts. You know, on
you said
sitting and
you said China and
UN.
Who took over?
UN and China, they are the best buddies now. Yeah, UN and China. ICANN is saying.
Okay.
It's called, yeah. So China have for years sitting and messing with the internet for all the Chinese. You know, they can't look at the same things that we are doing. They have a censored internet, and they are the experts of censoring internet. So it can be them, you know.
Well,
because they have been doing this for over a year, you know. So you see all the truther channels is being, you know, for no apparent reasons, you know, they are just closed down, and all the work they have been doing maybe for years, you know, being just, you know, deleted.
Okay, so
before we go on, I have a bit of a spin on some language that a lot of people use. It's been used all around. It's the idea of being a spiritual war, that we're in a spiritual war. I find that if you attach the idea of spirit to electricity or energy itself, right? So it's an electrical war, right? So the whole cyber war, cyberspace. It's interesting if you connect it to what you had said, Nils, earlier about that this technology is actually accessing the other side. That reminds me of something like Stanley Kubrick's idea in 2001: A Space Odyssey with the black monolith, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I've started thinking of the black monolith as this thing here. You know, that's my little personal black monolith, right? It's the cell phone, and
that is exactly what you have, you know.
Yeah, and if you think about the movie where the monkeys, they come up and they touch it, you know, and they lightly graze it. Yeah. So it's that idea of you know, it's full of stars. That happens in 2010, A Space Odyssey. Yeah, but it's black, it's darkness, right? If there's nothing on the screen, there's no information, it's black, it's Black Mirror. And then you activate it, and then you can go throughout all of the, you know, you go to the other side and explore everything that is on the other side that we've figured out how to crunch and present on the screen. I'm not saying that this thing is dangerous necessarily, but I am saying it's very, very intense and deeply fascinating, and pretty much everybody's involved with it one way or another, right? So like this idea of while I agree with you, you know, we should have everybody throw out their technology day. And then if everybody really did it, you know, we could do some sort of a fresh start thing, but that'll never happen.
No, it will never happen. But the reason why I told that we will someday need to throw it out is because they will come after us, you know, and they will come after a lot of person, and then they will track you with smart technology. You can't have anything smart. If you go to a sports shop here and buy clothing for going to the mountains, you know, for hunting and something, it's chipped. The newest sport clothing is chipped. The chip with a chip inside, you know, it's for your own safety. So it's just, you know, because you know,
I wonder
the
if
fight with.
I was just thinking, would running it through your microwave oven for a while solve that problem?
Yeah, can be.
That might be a solution.
They're saying this, if you have very strong magnets, you know, you can tape them together, you know, with the opposite poles, you know, so you're getting a very strong magnetic field, and that will over time disable this device, you know. But
you know,
I think
so
some of these devices is very, very hard, you know.
So that sort of, in my mind, loops back into the spiritual war. So it's an electric war, and one of the greatest weapons we might have is magnets, right? So it's the magnetic as the opposite of the electric.
Well, I do want to point out. I do want to point out that is a trinity. It's not a duality. You have the magnetic, you have the electric, and you have the gravitic. But they try really hard not to let us know that the gravitic element exists in that. Just thought I'd throw that in.
So do you guys know? Do you guys know right about what time ISIS was being, you know, introduced to the world as the new terror group? You know, anybody remember what year that was?
It was after 9/11, 2001.
It was many years after.
I was
outside for 10 years.
So Al Qaeda became ISIS, I think. I would say like 4 years ago, maybe 3. I'm going to lean towards 3.
It was right around 2011.
Yeah, I figured it was longer than 3 years ago.
Okay, so are you seeing my screen right now?
No, but let me pop over here.
Easy.
I'm hooked.
Am I not?
You should click on yourself so that it doesn't go to whoever's talking.
I thought I did already.
Well, yeah, he's highlighted, but when on our screen, in order to keep him on there, we have to click it on our own.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right, fine.
But it'll still show up just him on the vid.
Most of you guys know by now that Matty D he's become quite the thorn in everyone's side. And he's been giving a lot of people a lot of shit because they don't expose the Zionists, they don't expose Israel. You know, if you don't do that on a daily basis, then you're not okay as far as Matty is concerned. But I'm not going to rail on Matty because despite the shit that he's been lately, and despite the snide comments he's left on my channel lately, I still watch what he does. And I have to give him props because I didn't know about this. He put out a video today highlighting this. Now this ISIS Toyota, the Toyota ISIS, it's actually the name of a vehicle. It's obviously not sold here in America. It's sold in Japan and I think a few other places. But it was launched in, here it says September 2004. And I think it was right around 2011 when the terror group ISIS was introduced to the world, which would have made it 7 years later.
Okay. Yeah, and they drive Toyota. Everyone knows that.
And we know that ISIS likes their Toyota trucks.
Yeah. Oh, it's just coincidence.
And we know that ISIS is the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service.
Yeah.
Now, as you can see here, the images for the Toyota ISIS, which, by the way, is a 7-seat large MPV, right? 7 seats, okay? The Toyota ISIS is a 7-seater, right?
And it's 7 years.
It was about 7 years to when ISIS, the terror group, was introduced. And look at the images of these cars. Look at that lovely blue, and look at that, you know, clean white. Do I need to say any more?
No.
The blue and the white for the flag.
Predictive programming.
Red, white, and blue.
Well, yeah, no, okay, fair enough. There's a red one. They probably have black ones and whatever other color you want to order. But
Sure.
Yeah, but I just find it interesting that you get the red, white, and blue coming up.
Well, I think also Aaron was pointing to the blue and white of the Israeli flag. Also the Greek flag.
True.
You got the Argentinian flag.
Now look, we know that Israel, or the Israelis, or the Zionists, we know they like their numerology, and we know they love the number 7. That is their number.
Yes, Christine told us.
I
They
love the
love a
number
lot
7.
of stuff, you know.
Right,
No,
back to the Hebrew Kabbalah, right?
Yeah, 7's an awesome number.
They're obsessed with numbers, you know.
It's the number of the chakra system. So 7 is an extremely important number. It's an extremely important number. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Despite Matty D being an asshole, occasionally he does put out some useful information.
Yeah, I'm gonna be right back.
I got to give Matty credit for this one. I had no idea that there was such thing as a Toyota Isis, an actual car called the Toyota Isis, and I just found that a little bit surprising. So there.
Yeah, that's very amusing.
Okay, so I've got a video queued up here. I should do a screen share again. We're going to go ahead and move back into the 5G and the technology section of this conversation. I want to screen share one more time. I want to play a 3 or 4 minute segment of this video, which is an interview with Barry Trower. He's a physicist. Hopefully I'm sharing for everybody. I got this video. I want to give credit to Amplex channel. Hopefully everybody can see that pretty well. Title of this video is "They Don't Want You Knowing About This," and I'm going to go ahead and go full screen here.
And hopefully the sound works.
Yeah, let me know right away if you don't hear anything.
I will.
If you don't hear anything, let me know. And I'm going to go ahead and play this for just a couple of minutes. Let's listen to Barry Trower, the physicist. He says here, secret government microwave weapons and the effects on Wi-Fi on your bodies. So listen into this guy for a couple of minutes.
Joined the Royal Navy in 1960, and I specialized in microwave warfare.
Can you hear that?
Radar.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
But they don't just teach you radar, they teach you all about microwaves and other uses. So I understood about microwave warfare and how it can damage people, how it can harm people. And when I finished with the Royal Navy, I was also a diver in the Royal Navy, and microwaves are used in underwater mines as booby traps. Which actually got me interested, because I was actually taking a bomb to pieces underwater, and it was too complicated. And I brought it to the surface, and my partner that was on the surface said, "Don't be an idiot, take it back down." He said, "If somebody's beaming you with microwaves, they'll go right through you, and as you open the casing, trigger a photoelectric cell, and it'll blow all of us up." And he said, if it doesn't go through to the bomb, it'll aim it at your head and make you make a mistake. And that's really got me interested from that point, because I thought, well, how can microwaves going into your brain make you make a mistake? And I asked a lot of questions. I have a very curious brain. And the forces, they're very good at explaining things and telling you things. So I did that, and I also did a medical course while I was in to help me understand everything. And when I left, a small part of my job was to question captured agents, spies, terrorists, because microwaves then were used as weapons, as they are today. it is a perfect stealth weapon. And when governments don't like a group of people, for instance, the ladies who protest at Greenham Common in England about the American missile base they camped, they were microwaved. It goes on all over the world. And it's a weapon that you don't know you're being targeted because the dose is very, very low, which is actually more dangerous than a high dose. It's very, very low, and it may take a year or two, but you can cause neurological damage and cancers with low-level microwaves, and you can make all your opponents sick. It's a perfect weapon for a government to use. So that was going on, and I gathered all the information about that from people who were captured from other countries to find out what technologies they had, what pulse frequencies they used. But as I stressed, it was only a small part of my work. But because I was highly trained in it and I was useful, it just became a part of my working.
The smart security camera from Swan is designed to keep you safe at all times. Wire-free and worry-free home security.
You need to get ad block.
I do.
Works great for me, although I keep having to turn it off and turn it back on and periodically.
I just muted it, so just bear with us. A couple more seconds, it'll be right back.
Hey, is that the security system you got?
No, no, it's not.
Okay, because that would have been funny, right?
Oops, thought I unmuted. Okay. Come on, unmute. There we go.
People I found incredibly interesting, actually, to talk to. Very, very interesting. And then when I left there, I took a job teaching, and I taught advanced level physics, and I specialized in nuclear and atomic radiation, and again, microwaves. And I've just always been in microwaves. And then it was a doctor. I went to see a doctor once, as most teachers do, with a sore throat. And he said, as most doctors do, it's viral, there's nothing I can do for you. And I was leaving. And he said, hang on, Barry, he said, you're a physicist. And I said, yeah. And he said, can you explain something? He said, I went to a house that had a cot death 5 years ago. And the family moved, and a new family moved in. They had a new baby. The cot was in exactly the same place. And there was another cot death. And he said, 5 years apart. And he said, there's a transmitter the other side of the child's bedroom wall. Could the transmitter cause the cot death? And I said, I don't know. I said, but I'll look into it. And then I found that microwaves were involved, and I knew what microwaves did. And a while later, I went back to the doctor. I wrote a paper on it, and I said, there's your answer. Microwaves can cause cot death by 2 or 3 different mechanisms. There's your answer. And then, for some reason, he told somebody who told somebody, and people started phoning me up and writing to me saying, can you explain this, or can you help with that? I've never actually asked anyone if I can do anything. They always come to me. And then the police came to me and said, we're getting this new tetra airwave system. We don't understand what's happening. Can you read all this scientific rubbish and just put it into Janet and John and tell us? And I said, of course I can. So that was published, and since then it's snowballed and snowballed and snowballed, and now I receive up to 1,000 communiques a week from.
All right, well, there you go. I don't want to play the whole video, but for anybody who wants to go and listen to Barry Trower, the guy seems to know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a creepy story that there's a double what he called cot death, and I know that's English speak. Over here in America, we call it SIDS, S-I-D-S, which is sudden infant death syndrome.
Well, we called it first crib death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
it
the
got
same
labeled sudden infant death syndrome.
Yeah. Yep. So now we call it SIDS, which is a syndrome. Okay. Which
yeah, well, I think soon it's going to be something like sudden human death syndrome, right? It's just like, oh, the disease you came down with is you died, right? We don't need to. Yeah,
you probably died from the flu, you know, from not getting the flu shot.
Yep, or anything. Like what you're Nils, what you're doing for me with the information you're bringing is giving me this this larger picture of what this grid would look like, you know, and I'm thinking like what it's going to look like and be like to live in such grids, and the thing that came to mind was this idea of, well, if the grid, you know, is capable of, you know, instant human death, right? If everything is pegged and tagged and you're totally surveilled, well, if you did something wrong, if you're a persona non grata, they don't want you around. Well, anytime, anywhere, in 500 different ways, they could take you out. You know, either or make you sick or just drop you dead right there, right? The grid would have that kind of a capability. That is some 1984 type shit, and that aspect is quite scary. So yeah, if we're talking about,
I think.
Go ahead.
I think people are very capable of doing this, because if you see this expert here, this Barry, he knows what he's talking about. I've seen this whole video, you know, and stuff he been doing. And you know, when people have a babysitter, you know, these electronic devices that you know, speaks when your baby wakes up. This is very harmful for a baby. They are a very strong signal, and you can't actually turn them off. You need to actually take the battery off to stop them sending the signal out. And ultrasound is very harmful for a small baby inside the stomach. So they've been doing this all the time. And if you see new housing projects with this all apartments, you know, is shrinking down, you know, smaller and smaller. But you can see on the how they do it, how the building engineer have been doing this. They have the smart meter or the electrical box just very, very close to the kid's bedroom always. Normally it's on the opposite side of the wall where the kids are supposed to be sleeping. So this is not a coincidence, you know, that they're doing this. It's the same agenda, you know. So, and a lot of people have problems with this electronic harassment, where actually groups of the military intelligence is sitting in the forest or renting an apartment beside them and shooting them with the psychotronic guns, you know. They are doing this stuff, you know. They are psychopaths, but they are paid to be that. Paid to do the job, you know. So.
Psychopaths paying underling psychopaths to do their dirty work.
Yeah, I have a story about myself, you know. When I was finding out this Bering Breivik, you know, this hoax, I started to investigate this, and I get a visitation, you know, from 2 Norwegian military intelligence officers, you know. And they were spying on me. They were sitting very close to me in a bar, you know, one on each side, you know. And I was living in Lithuania, and you can see I was the only, you know, one of the few Norwegians living there, you know. And when you have other Norwegians sitting by, you can feel it, you know. You can, how they're talking, how they're acting, how they, you know, they stick out, you know.
Right.
So first time they was coming, I was I was managing to escape, you know. The second time, I was sitting and talking with them for half hour, you know, inside a restaurant in the middle of the night, you know, that was open, you know, all night on the casino. And after that, I was kicked down by a professional kickboxer. He broke my jaw clean off on both sides.
Ouch.
I needed to go to Norway 3 days, you know, before I can have an operation. That is a clear signal, you know, that you should keep your mouth shut, you know. So these guys, they are not kidding, you know. So I know they will come after people, you know, and but I think with this radiation coming up, I think it's we need to be aware of first of all the microwaves we have around us. That is one thing, you know, but the millimeter waves is so much stronger, you know. So we actually need to relocate to another place, to a place where it's not so many of them, you know, or maybe it's not at all. You see that it's been an agenda for moving people out of desolated areas, and that's for a good reason, because they can't build out the 5G net everywhere. It's very limited, you know. So we actually have a very good chance, you know, to. But you know,
that's a very good connection.
Makes Agenda 21 very comprehensible. Why they want to pull?
Yeah, you always need to ask the question why.
Yep.
Why is the reason why they're doing it? And it's the 5G, of course. They can't subjugate you if you're not living in a city or you're not living in a populated area where they have these antennas up, you know.
Right.
But you know, they will. And cars, you know. If you can put up a picture, Aaron, of one of these 5G antennas, you know.
Sure.
And you can see the car there, you know. It's a very special reason why I drive such a car, because nothing is electronic, you know. It's no electronic fuel injection. It's no
computer onboard.
No computer whatsoever, you know. Everything is manual. It can't be shut off. It's a diesel engine too, you know. So you can't kill it. You need to kill the fuel, you know, to shut it off. So people need to start to think about this stuff, you know, because I think it will be crucial, you know, in the times to come, you know. We need to get off this smart addiction we have, you know, all this electronic stuff. Of course, it's very handy. We have this conversation because of this, but we need to take this serious, you know.
So you took these pictures yourself with your cell phone?
Yeah.
And I'm screen sharing. Everyone can see me?
Yeah. You can put it a little bit higher up on the screen, maybe. Yeah. You see this box? That's a black barrel antenna. And if you look at the wiring, look how thick the wiring is to this box comparing to the other wiring on the light pole, you know. Imagine how much juice this box can potentially dole out, you know, when they're saying that they can amplify and aim the signal, you know. And you're driving straight under this box, and it's not far from between every box, you know. They are covering a huge area, you know, and it's a populated area. You see some of the boxes is pointed on the road. Another of the boxes is pointing the other way, straight on the housing, you
know. That's a good observation. That you're right. That is one hell of a thick wire. When I compare it to the other cables attached to this pole, the tension cables, the other incoming electrical cables, that is literally probably the thickest cable, except maybe at the very, very top looks like something pretty heavy coming in. But the other cables, by comparison, are not as thick. That's one hell of a cable. You're right.
And they've been putting up more than just the boxes. They need to put up electricity they need to have more juice up, you know. All the grid, they need to, you know, we have hydroelectric plants here, you know, and they need to upgrade the wiring on the main grid, because they're gonna carry so much more amperes, you know. So they're upgrading the net, you know, to because this is gonna take so much more juice, and we are going to pay for it.
Yes, I think so.
On top of everything else, you know.
Yeah,
yeah. There you see the car, you know, and there you see the box straight beside the houses. You know.
Oh, you got? Is that your vehicle?
Yeah.
That's your Jeep there.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a snorkel you got there.
No, it's exhaust pipe.
That's your exhaust comes straight out of the engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an exhaust pipe. Wow, that's kind of strange.
Awesome.
Diesel, yeah. I imagine, right?
Yeah, it's a turbo diesel. Yeah, you can handle much more turbo pressure if you let the exhaust out, because it will not heat up and damage the engine. So yeah, you see this 5G barrel antennas is called. They are cylindrical boxes, you know, and they can aim. They are rotating inside. They can aim the signal in any direction.
Oh.
Yes.
And amplify it up, you know. This is serious stuff, you know.
Wow.
And you see here on the next picture, we can see it clearly. It's not getting more daylight than this. This is the most light you can get at this time of year. But the next antenna is just down the road, you know. It's just, you know.
Every 100 meters, is that correct?
Some are maybe 50 meters apart or 30 meters, depending on the road and how many houses, you know. If there are more houses, you know, they put up more, they put them closer together, you know.
That one picture with the, you know, slightly from a distance with the, you know, from the side, it looked like a cockroach sitting on the thing.
Yeah, like a beetle, you
like
know.
You're being invaded by cockroaches. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I will prefer cockroaches long before this.
I'll take.
But you can look at this picture, you know. Look at the cabling on that one. Just look at that, you know.
Yeah, those three cables that run down on the left side of the pole, each are pretty...
They're coming up to the box. Yeah.
Oops, I'm sorry. I grabbed the damn slide bar. Sorry. There it is coming up. Next one here. Yeah, those three cables running up the left side of that pole together, those three cables are almost half of the thickness of the pole. Just those three cables alone.
Really?
Yeah, and this is coming from a separate power source, because they can't, the wiring on the poles can't handle the strain from these boxes.
So where, do you know where the extra power source is coming from?
Yeah, it's coming from ground cables.
Wow.
They already been digging down ground cables, you know. These have been planned, you know. These have been planned. Here is my,
Sorry, I keep touching the wrong spot and it grabs the slide bar and it.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Here you go.
Yeah. Here is my new Visa card. It was coming maybe 1 month ago. You see it have a symbol on the right side, you know, this signal symbol, and this means you can use the Visa card without putting it in the machine. You don't need to swipe it. You don't need to stick it in. No.
Wait.
They deduct money straight on the fly.
Why does it say 9/20? Is that your birthday?
Where? 9/20? No, it's just an expiration date.
Oh, that's my birthday.
Oh, okay.
September 20th.
Yeah. No, you see here, if you can see, I was holding it up to a light source. Can you see the 5G antenna there?
Yes.
It's a big antenna. It's look like a long, you know, long strip with a lot of wiring going out. So this is two-way communication, you know, on this card. You know, this card is communicating with all the different stuff around us.
Yeah, the two-way communication is what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about the soda cans, and every product, you know, when they get close to each other, they communicate with each other. So it's a two-way communication, and eventually everybody's going to have a chip in their hand, which, you know, a lot of people refer to in Revelation as the mark of the beast, where you won't be able to buy or sell. Okay, which fits the narrative perfectly for the Revelation theme. And these RFID chips now are two-way communication devices. Darn it, I keep touching that thing. So they're two-way communication devices. So yeah, a soda can, like when you buy a six-pack of soda, each individual chip will know that all cans are present. And when you pull one and you drink it and walk away, the cans themselves will know that one is missing. The can that you take will communicate with the chip in your hand. And like I said, if you accidentally drop it on the street and it gets picked up by the street sweeper, and you know, originally when I first heard the story, they said you'll get a ticket in the mail, and you're correct. You corrected me, and you're absolutely right that with the new 5G system and the new cashless society that we're headed towards, it'll just be deducted from your credit system or your bank account or whatever system they implement. Like in you know, George Orwell, it might be credits, it might be blockchain, it might be a new cryptocurrency.
It'll be some energy accounting unit, whatever it is.
Yeah, it will be Beast Coin.
Yes, Beast Coin. I like
now,
that.
Neil, and
if you look at this new currency notes we're having here, this is the new stuff. You know, this was coming this year. It have chains on it. You know, 3 chains. You know, symbolizing that we'll be enslaved. You know,
exactly.
And more than that, they have a portal. You know, a holographic portal.
Portal?
Yes, this is very strange. I will show you this. I have a note. I can try to show it on the camera. When I move this, you will see.
Hang on, I'm sharing, so I can't see you, and I don't think anybody else can either. So if you want to show something, you need to let me know.
No. Yeah. Anyway, this 200 crown currency note have a hologram on it, and the hologram is behind bars, like in a jail cell, you know. And what you see inside the hologram is a green circle, a portal.
Wow.
And that is moving behind. When you're moving this currency note, it's moving behind, you know, the bars.
Yeah.
You can see the green lighted up portal, you know.
Creepy.
So your currency, yes, super creepy, you know. It's just, you know, where do they get the stuff from, you know?
Well, you know, I was telling my friend. I'm sorry, Amy, you're breaking up something terrible.
Fine.
You're breaking up completely. I didn't hear any of that.
6. I didn't hear. Never mind.
Nope. Sorry, Amy. No better. You're just totally broken up. Keep trying. I'll let you know. Anyway, Nils, my friend is a numismatist. Do you know what that is?
No.
He collects coins. He studies currency.
Mm-hmm.
So he's one of those guys that's really, it's like his hobby. It's like a serious hobby. Okay, so he knows a lot about all kinds of different coinages and currencies. And the term is called a numismatist. I was telling him about this image that you sent me of this note, this $200 note, with the chains. And him and I were also today, we were talking about the same subjects: blockchain, artificial intelligence, Bitcoin. And I thought it was interesting about the chain in terms of symbolism, which is representative of slavery, right? And then, you know, we were talking about Bitcoin and blockchain, and then it dawned on me that blockchain, oh, by the way, my friend, he said, you would be surprised at how many world currencies and coins have the chain symbolism somewhere on the coin or the currency.
Speaking of that, can you hear me now?
Yes, huh? He got you better now.
Let me tell you, you know the $?
Yeah.
It is a representation of a symbol that meant a scourge, you know, like a whip that was used to keep slaves in.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that until just recently when it's a slightly skewed.
Like a stylized version?
In the symbol itself, it's skewed, but it's a snaky-like thing with 2 lines going through it.
Wow, interesting.
I was like, yeah, they used money to control us. They're, quote, slaves, unquote. At least they think we are.
Well, when Nils sent me this picture, the chains were the obvious in-your-face symbolism. And I immediately, you know, I jokingly said to my friend, I said, all they need, what they're missing is a set of shackles. And
yeah, it will come, you know, but maybe not on the nose. You will have them straight on your hands and legs.
And I was surprised when he told me that he said the majority of currencies around the world have some chain symbolism embedded within the scroll work, or in this case, it's in your face. Yeah. It's right across the note.
Yeah.
And we were talking about Bitcoin and blockchain. And then it dawned on me, I was like, wait a minute, blockchain, there's that freaking chain again.
Yeah, but what is a block, Aaron? A block, they put people in blocks, you know, also the churches, you know.
Cell blocks.
They put
That's right.
In the block with the, you know, this wooden block with your head sticking out and your hands sticking out. This was the block punishment.
Stock. Oh. It was called stock.
The stock.
Yeah, the stock, yeah.
The stock.
Well, and then the word stock is interesting.
Yeah, the stock exchange.
Stock, bondage.
Yeah,
right?
bondage. Yeah, the bank, you know.
That's right.
Bank. I think the language goes on and on, right? It's there. It's there to be unpacked. It's there to be analyzed.
Yeah, we are the cattle. We are the stock.
Yeah. Yeah. But they have changed the rules now because I think 3 years ago they had a major rehaul of the law system here. You know, we before we had a book, you know, it was called the Laws of Norway, and they have if they had a new laws changed or something, they need to print out a new set of books, you know. But now it's on the computer. It's called the law data, you know. It's just
say again, please.
It's a computer program.
It's called what?
Law of data or
law of data. Okay.
Yeah, the law data, and it's a living document. You know, they're changing it all the time, and the police, they need to go look it up because they can look one time in and it's this law, and another time they're coming, it's already been changed. So they need to be, you know, looking straight into this. They can't go in a book and look up the law anymore, you know, because it's changing all the time. But something interesting have happened with the laws of the bank system. People here have been, and I'm sure in America too, you know, in England and everywhere, people have been getting loans for everything, you know, more and more loans, and loans have been actually quite cheap for a few years, maybe 10 years or something like that. But they changed the laws now, so if you can't if you can't pay for your loan anymore, you will be working for the bank for free. That is a new law. They didn't put it out there yet, but it's in the system, you know. It's already in the system. Everything is approved and everything. And you will be called a consultant.
This is
They
why
don't need to pay you.
money. We desperately need to get rid of money. I don't know, Nils, are you familiar with my work?
No.
Okay, I mean, I'm not surprised. At some point, you might want to check out my playlist, and I discuss a way we can solve for these psychopaths in control. Certainly is not something I can do on my own. We need lots of people.
Amy's got an idea for solutions that involves the banning and non-use, not only the banning of money, but the banning of accounting for human energy.
Not banning, making pointless. There's a difference.
Okay, I got you.
Pointless.
So
for human energy.
So I'm looking at this new the next image on the list here. This is the portal, the green portal, the holograph.
Yeah.
You were talking
this
about?
This is the hologram, you know. When you're moving the currency, this green circle is moving in the inside of the note, like you're looking into a room, you know. When you're turning the currency, you can see this is moving inside, you know.
That green circle is centered on.
No, it's not centered. If you move the currency, if you can blow up my picture, you know, or my face, you know, I will show you something here, you
know. Well, I just wanted to point something out. Those black rectangles, is that part of the hologram?
No, that is the frame. That is like it's like you're sitting inside.
So the black rectangles, they're permanent ink, and the green moves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I just wanted to point something out. Does anybody notice the significance of the 9 black triangle or rectangles? It's 3 by 3.
Yep.
3 tall 33. And 3 wide.
33.
Thank you very much. Next frame.
Of course, it's a 33, you know.
I also.
Wait, is there something significant about 33?
Don't be a smart ass.
Don't be the smart ass.
Okay, so what do we have here on this next image, Nils? We have a $200 note with a
car, we have the.
Is that a salmon?
We have the.
Or a trout?
Yeah, no, it's a cod. It's a cod. We have a lot of cod here, and but
cod. Cod.
Yeah.
COD. Cod.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, it's just the.
But the stripe you see here on the note is not visible. You know, I was holding it up to a very strong light, and you can it's shining through. You know,
we have those. Our new
this
notes,
is a
in America, our new notes have an embedded stripe, and you have to hold it to the light to see it. But ours, because of America, our notes looks like yours says NB and then 200 and then NB, so that repeats. On the American note, it's a series of Liberty bells on ours. And by the way, they're holographic also. The Liberty bells on the new notes, they bang back and forth like a bell rings. So we have our own little holographic, you know, images on our notes as well. So we have little holographic bells that ring when you move the note left and right.
If I say, Aaron, the bells ring for you.
For whom the bell tolls.
For whom the bell tolls. Thank you, Bart.
This stripe here is a identification for the currency, so they can count it with the 5G net. They can count your currency in your wallet, you know, see if you have money or not. Because
that's right.
we're gonna have electronic currency, but not yet. You know, they need to phase out the real cash, because cash is giving us power. You know, I can come to you, Aaron, and do something for you, and you can pay me straight in the hand. You know?
Sure.
And they can't know that, you know, if you're not bringing your mobile phone.
They can't tax. When you and I do a private, they cannot get their little fingers in our pie.
Yeah, exactly. And So what they're gonna do now? They're gonna follow you and follow your money.
Yeah.
If you go to someone and you're missing some of the money, that means you've been paying them. You know.
Yeah, and the department stores will have the kiosk when you walk through the door. It'll have the 2 magnetic bars you walk through, and it'll be able to tell how much money you have in your wallet. It'll know who you are and how much money you have in your bank account.
Yeah.
And then you'll have targeted advertising as you walk through the department store, because it'll know that you got cash on you, or you got money in your account, or you've got extra credits this month because you worked extra hard, or whatever the new system is. And by the way, I want to ask you this, Nils. What do you think of Bitcoin as an introduction to the new world digital currency? Now, it may or may not be a cryptocurrency. It might be some form of blockchain. It might be a credit system. But the concept alone, the concept of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, some of these other cryptocurrencies, I'm leaning towards the idea that the reason that we even have these things, and as a side note, you notice none of the banks are pushing against. None of the banks are pushing back and have any issue. Nobody has a problem with Bitcoin. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm thinking that Bitcoin.
I don't know that that's true.
By the way, can I bring up something here? My friend was showing me a cover of The Economist.
The 88 version?
Yeah, I think it was.
1988 Economist.
Where they have the Phoenix.
Yes, on a pile of burning cash.
Yes. Okay, I just wanted to, I didn't know if anyone else knew about that, but I'm like, oh, they never use The Economist.
So I just want to get Nils's opinion, because I think that Bitcoin, or the concept of cryptocurrency, is a way of introducing the public to the idea of a digital currency.
Yeah, and this is a stepstone. You heard about the bank holiday, yeah?
Bank holiday, yes.
Yeah, that is not a pleasant holiday, to say the least, you know. The Bitcoin will come into use when the bank closes, because people will be desperate, you know. You can't use ATMs, you can't shop in the shopping mall, you know, you can't fuel your car.
Yeah.
So it will be a period of time, because they want to drag it out and make people desperate to accept the new Bitcoin system, because the Bitcoin is a stepstone. But this comes immediately after the banks close. But they need to introduce it to the market first, because they need to put it into the system. And you see now they have different forms of Bitcoin. They have Bitcoin, and they have, I think, 3 forms of this cryptocurrency, you know. But this is just to get it into the to Wall Street and to the Hang Seng, you know, and all the different stock exchanges first, because it needs to be in the system before they do a big bank holiday. And then your money in your account, they will do a bail-in. A bail-in, they take 40% of your savings straight to the bank. It will disappear like magic, you know. And this is called a bail-in. And the rest of the money you have in your account will be exchanged to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So you can use electronically on your smartphone, and it will be a new system, and it's already installed in the phones, you know, in all the new phones. So this will be the way that people can pay for services, pay for electricity, you know, pay for different things.
So I'm curious. I'm looking at this image here, and it says 1,000 Tusen kroner.
Yeah, that's 1,000 crowns. Yeah.
Krones. So a krone is your currency in Norway?
Yeah, Norwegian crowns.
It means crown, right?
Yeah.
I was going to suggest it's etymologically linked to Kronos.
Sure.
Yeah.
Crown,
Of
Kronos.
course. Yeah.
Which is Saturn.
Corona.
I would not be surprised.
Which is Saturn. And if you look right above, if you see on the bottom left corner, it says 1000. The middle 0, if you look right above it, there's a cube.
Yeah.
Again, a symbol of Saturn. And obviously we have the sun symbol, and obviously there's the triangle and the cube. And look at that cube. It's got a light blue and white. Do I need to say any more?
No, you don't need to.
Hey, Matty D, you see the truth yet? Okay.
I mean, I could say a lot more.
Go ahead, Bart.
The whole idea of Saturn being necessarily this idea that that Saturn is a bad guy, right? I'm just sort of responding to your idea, your question of need I say more?
Oh, well,
right?
I'm talking about Israel. I'm talking about Israel.
Well, for sure, but as if it were sort of. But I think what you're implying in there is it's as if Saturnianism. That there's only one, and it's only bad, and it's only evil, and Saturn always represents something that's bad. I don't think that you actually think about it that
no
that simply or shallowly. No. But I think a lot of people do, right? So I'm just sort of responding.
Well, Saturn,
like when you say, need I say more, right? I think there's going to be a whole bunch of people nodding their heads going, yeah, I know what you're talking about. The temple of Saturn, the bad guys, that equals evil. Therefore, it's all evil. Therefore, it's all bad, right? Well, I'm just saying it's way more simple. I mean, it's way more complicated than that.
Well, absolutely. You're right. It's definitely more complicated, but I'm alluding to the fact that the Jewish tradition, the ancient Hebrews and their original tribes of Hebrew, the original Jew tribes, one of the tribes worshipped Saturn, one of them worshipped volcanoes, one of them worshipped the sun, one of them worshipped the moon. All these different tribes came together to create Judaism. But one of them was a very strong proponent and worshiper of Saturn, which is Kronos. Saturn is represented by the cube, the black cube, the Kaaba stone, the Kaaba. Okay. And these are Egyptian words that go back to Babylonia. That if you want to go even further back in time, it goes all the way back to the Ka and the Ba from Egypt, the Kaaba, which is the stone that the Muslims circle once a year in Mecca, the Kaaba stone, which is a black cube, and the Jews still wear that damn black cube on their forehead during certain rituals. The Orthodox Jews do.
Yeah.
But I also want to point out on this $1,000 krone that the sun is resting between, it's sort of down in a valley. Now, that's a symbol of communism right there. That's the rising sun. That's the sun rising between the two hills.
Yeah, we are a socialist country. That is communism light, you know. We are a communist country.
Uh-huh.
I love it. Communism.
I mean, the symbolism is just layers and layers in this image.
Yeah. It's just to hammer in the fact that show who is ruling. That you know, the symbolism is just crystal clear, you know, for who is
the symbolism here goes straight to Israel. We've got that cube, which is Saturn. The cube is white and blue, which is Israel. Obviously, there's a red triangle, which is the pyramid, which represents the Trinity.
No, it represents the Freemasonry, because all Freemasonry have the seal of Solomon, you know, inside their lodge. So all Freemason lodges are controlled by this.
The Freemason lodges are controlled by the Jesuits.
No.
Oh yes, they are.
You can, you can see. No, but you can see. It's a coin. It's the Jesuits or the Catholic Church on one side and the Jews on another side. You
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just they're working together, and they've been working together always.
I propose that
and they even
there are people above that.
And whether or not they're people or not is
above that, whether they're human.
Should I speak about this, because it's very important. Now we see the monster, you know, but we need to step back a little bit and look at the whole picture, because it's very, very important to see what we're up against, and then we have a much better understanding. And bear with me if I explain who is behind this.
No, you go right ahead.
Yeah. Last time I was talking about Nikola Tesla, and Nikola Tesla had a lot of inventions all his life. He was a very talented man, you know. But he said when he was writing a book, you know, and explaining that he had spirit guides, you know, guiding him in everything he was doing, and all invention in very technical work, you know. And he was believing most of his life that it was for the good, you know, because he had very good intentions. He wanted to bring electricity to everyone, you know. He wanted to have this big mass up and have free electricity from the ground, you know. And but you know, other people had other ideas. You can't introduce free energy. You ruin all the market, yeah. But in the late years of his life, in this apartment in New York where he had this laboratory, he come to the conclusion that the spirit guides he had was not of the good kind. They were actually evil. And and that was the biggest reason that he wanted to keep these inventions for himself, because he didn't want to spread all this evil around the world, you know. So he was managing to keep a lid on this until he was dead, and FBI raided his apartment and took all his inventions and everything. And John Trump was, you know.
John Trump, that's right.
Was sitting like, you know, they was diving into this technology, and this is not the good guys, you know, the Trump family.
We know about it.
Yeah. And this conversation, or this I was talking about last time, this conversation back and forth was in a language he didn't understand. And this is the conversations between the fallen angels, the watchers that live on the firmament, and the other side. That's the dead offspring, the demons. So they communicate back and forth. And this is the millimeter system, because this is the wavelength they communicate on. So, but the leaders of our world, the elites, you know, most of them are Satanists, and they worship these beings, you know. When Donald Trump was coming into office and Barack Obama was going out, it was stated that 200 entities was helping them in the transition period, you know. And they was going down to Antarctica, you know, Ian Kirill, you know, was going there, the Black Pope was going, all these big shots, you know, Skull and Bones was going down there too, and make deals with them about the future. Because you need to understand something. These guys, they hate us. They hate everyone. And they use people, and they give them money, they give them everything they want as long as they do their bidding. But they hate them too, of course. But you know, the Masons and the Satanists, they don't understand that, you know. They're
useful idiots.
They're useful idiots, yeah. But many of them are very smart. They're very intelligent guys, you know. A colleague of mine, he was a 33-degree Mason and a brilliant man, you know. But he was telling me, we was sitting on the airport, you know, waiting for the plane to go. We was both living abroad, and he was talking about his wife that was a black witch, you know. So this is a real thing, you know, and the lodges are everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And this is how they control all societies, is via the lodge system.
Yeah.
Because they recruit everyone that is needed to manipulate everything around us, and they will do the bidding because they get paid very handsomely to do this service, you know.
Yeah.
So. But what most people don't understand is that the higher level, that the fallen angels are sitting and calling all the shots, and they hate us, and they want to destroy us, because when Adam was made, all the angels need to come and worship him, you know. But Lucifer, he didn't want to do that. He said first of all, he was made before Adam, and he was much better than everything, you know. He was rebelling, and he was, you know, getting a lot of other angels into the same deal, and they was cast down out of heaven and landed on the firmament. They've been there ever since, and that is under the heaven, but over us. And they have been, you know, mating with the people, with animals, with everything, corrupted everything, until he needed to do a big flood to wipe them out, because everything was destroyed. And you see, the DNA we have, the two-stranded DNA, is actually an antenna.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you take a blood sample from someone and keep it alive and transport it to another side of the world, you know, and this person sit down and see a scary movie, he will produce adrenaline in the blood. This blood sample in Australia will also, at the same moment, without any time delay,
yes,
produce adrenaline.
Yes.
And this is because they have a communication without time limit, and this is.
Yep, we understand that.
If you get saved by the Lord, you start to communicate on this line, you know. That is why they want to destroy the DNA, because it's coded. It's like a code key on a radio frequency. You have your own personal line, you know, and if they can change your DNA, they will scramble the code, and you can no longer be accepted, you know, because you will be something else. You will the CRISPR technology is opening up the DNA so you can put things inside. You can things from a goat.
Yeah, that's creepy shit. Yeah. The CRISPR technology.
That is creepy stuff, you know, and they can take DNA from a goat and put inside you, and you will grow horns on the head. Isn't that interesting? So what they want to do with the 5G SIM, because we have a very important thing, and that's called free will. It's the demons on the other side. They are not allowed to do everything they want, you know. If not, we will be run over, you know. But if we are willing, they can corrupt us. So if you want to do this thing on the smartphone, you can do it, you know. If you want to take the chip that will, because the chip will have the CRISPR technology inside. You can bet everything you have on that. And this will be an app system, you know. You can choose what is your favorite animal, you know. Is it a fluffy rabbit or what is it, you know? They're already doing it with animals. They did with salmon in Canada. They put something from I think it was from a jellyfish or something like that, DNA in the salmon, and let it loose, you know. In Canada, out in the nature. So this fish will take over, you know, and ruining all the normal stock. And even here now, this year we get the same salmon here, but it's not. It's probably been set out, you know. So they try to ruin all natural food sources around us, you know. We only gonna have GMO.
In what way was the salmon changed? The one you said they turned loose in Canada? How was it changed?
DNA.
I mean, what part of the DNA? What function in the fish? What aspect?
Oh, I don't know what aspect, you know. But it was from. I think it was from a jellyfish or something, marine life. Octopus, maybe octopus or a jellyfish. I can't remember, but this was put inside the fish, and they was released out in the nature.
Fuck.
So that is, you know, that is insanity. But they are insane, you know.
Well,
And they want to destroy. Yeah, they want to destroy all our natural food sources. That must be, you know, clear for everyone.
Every time I turn around, there's a brand new insanity to absorb. It's really,
because sooner or later they're gonna put the cap on food. They want to starve us, you know.
Well, they want to feed us to each other.
Oh yeah, they will do that, but they will do that in the camps, you know, Soylent Green, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's no joke.
Yeah, no, that is not a joke at all.
That was predictive programming, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so
they've been doing this. Yeah.
I'm looking at this last image that you have. This is Norway Bank here. I'm on this image. It looks like. Well, I'll start with this little map image. It looks like some sort of map, like a road map or a neighborhood. And the thing that jumps to my mind is Egypt. It almost looks like a map of, I don't know, Luxor Temple or something like that.
The Osirian?
The Osirian?
Osirian, yes.
I don't know, but to me, I could be wrong. That just screams an Egyptian temple or some sort of something. To me, that just looks, again, I don't know. I could be wrong. But I look at that little road map. It looks like a neighborhood, but I think that's probably like a compound or in Egypt. You know, anybody else thoughts? I don't know.
It's a level 4 laboratory.
Oh shit!
It should be. It's turned on the side, you know. But if you turn it, if you turn it to the left, you can see the white thing is the ground, and the other is the air, you know. And the first floor is above ground. All the rest is underground. It's a level 4 lab. Like they have in Africa, you know.
Oh fuck! Okay. All right, now you just really creep me out. And what is this thing? What is this?
I have that effect. You know.
And what is this thing down at the very bottom that looks like the head of a puffin, and it's got like a beard, or is that some kind of squid? What is that?
That is a lundebird. It's a bird that is almost extinct, you know, but it's a national bird of Norway, you know. But look at the thing you have in the beak, you know. It's not fish, it's people hanging out there.
Yes, I was going to say it looked like people to me.
What? Yeah, legs, you know.
Yep.
We're going to feed us to the birds, you know.
Oh, jeez.
It looks like a puffin. The bird looks like, I see it. It looks like a puffin with something in his mouth.
Yeah. 3 guys hanging there.
So the puffin, you don't call it a puffin. You call it something else? That's the same bird.
Yeah, we call it the lunde. We call it the lunde bird.
Okay,
but it's probably Norwegian. You know?
It was up here. I saw it on this other note right there. It's upside down, but that's a puffin.
Yeah.
We call that a puffin.
Yeah.
That's your national bird? You call it a lunde?
No, I don't know if it's national, but it's one of the birds that are very famous in Norway.
Okay, because they have those. I've been to Alaska a few times, and they have those things all over the place, and they call them puffins.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks like a puffin with something in his mouth. And you're suggesting that those are people? I don't see that.
I do. Look like legs.
When I first looked at it, it looked like people's legs. I agree. That was the first thing that came to mind on that.
All right, I'm not seeing that one, but okay.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but it's a lot of creepy shit on the new notes, you know. But it's very clear, you know. The message is very clear, you know. They are, you know, shouting it out for people who have eyes to see. Yeah, but it's not just slaves, but they want to do something with us, you know.
Yes, we're
food.
This is what we are. We're servants, slaves, sex toys, and sacrifices.
Yeah, all of the rest, and they're doing this in the lodges behind closed doors, you know. And but they want to take the lodge system out now, out of the lodge and out in the open. They are tired of this, keeping it a secret,
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So they're coming after everyone now. And when you see when the bank law system is changed, so all the people who have been taking up loans for everything, they will when they can't pay back, they will be consulants and they need to work it off. And that is slave labor camps,
Yes, it is. That is slavery.
Yeah, that is slavery. And they have it in the law system, so it's it's not something that I am sitting inventing. I'm just looking at the facts and trying to put everything together and look at the big picture. Because it's we need to understand the enemy. If we're gonna have a snowball's chance, we need to understand the enemy.
Well, I think that I have a solution. I will mention that again. Like I said, I have a playlist on my channel, and it's all of my videos that deal with thoughts and direction I see. It's called A Solution to the Psychopaths in Control. That's the name of the playlist.
Yeah.
And I certainly hope that people not only watch the playlist, but share it widely, because the way I've got it worked is if we get these ideas to the tipping point such that people are talking about it everywhere, we will create better, and my work on this planet will be done.
Yeah, but the biggest problem is, Amy, that if you start, you guys, you've been dealing with this for years, probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And talking with you guys, you have a lot of information, and that's why I'm coming on your channel to listen in, to bounce it off you, because you're smart guys,
Thank you,
boys and girls, and that's why I'm doing this. But if I sit and talk to another person, I can go to my neighbor here and talk, and they are just, they don't believe anything.
Well,
we know
the feeling.
Yeah, everyone, of course. I'm talking to the quarry. I'm just saying, how can you turn people if they don't even want to listen to one single thing you say?
I can tell. Let me give you a clue. Allow me, please. Focus on the things that affect them directly.
Yep.
Okay. It's you cannot introduce these gigantic ideas that we discuss.
No, of course.
In a couple of sentences or even one short conversation. You just can't get that in someone's head. So the thing to do is to plant one or two seeds and make the person think on their own, and you have to get them to see how they are directly affected by what's happening. Like in the case we're talking today about 5G, if you want to talk to your neighbor who knows nothing about these things, anything about any conspiracies, you just leave out the symbolism, you leave out all of the fringy stuff, and you just focus on the one thing that affects them directly. And in this case, you can very easily describe how the millimeter waves are absorbed by biology and damages your DNA, and it's the part of your DNA. It's, oh crap! It just left my brain.
Telomeres.
Chromosomes.
Thank you. It damages the chromosome. Now the video I played earlier of Barry Trower, the physicist. If you watch that whole video, he talks about how the chromosome damage that is done, particularly to young women, young girls in school, because their eggs, you were talking about a teenage girl.
They're carrying the eggs all their life, You're not getting new eggs. You have all the...
A young girl is born with every egg that she will ever produce, and they develop throughout her life. and they are 10 times. Okay, watch this video, guys. If you don't believe me, go watch this video. The one that I shared, go find it and watch the whole video. 10 times more susceptible to these millimeter waves. The chromosomes of the eggs are damaged. So you're not going to see necessarily, you might see some cancer in the girl or the kids later on in life. But what you're going to see is when that girl tries to have children and reproduce, that her children are going to be fucked up. And because the chromosomes are damaged, see, look, we can trace the human genome. We can take a DNA sample from you and trace your lineage all the way back to what they call the bottleneck, where human, where the flood comes and only a few people survived. So you can trace your DNA all the way back to that moment, everybody. And that's the chromosomes. And when your chromosomes are damaged, that carries through your children and your children's children. So the kids today that are in school being subjected to these millimeter waves through the 5G networks, the chromosomes in their eggs are being damaged. And when they have children, their children will be fucked up in some way. And those children, if they ever have children, they will also be messed up.
Look at Iraq. Do you remember when what you call this witch, many witches, of course, but she was presented with this 500,000 kids that was dying in the hospitals in Iraq because of the sanctions, But a lot of these kids, they were damaged because of radiation,
Yeah, that was the depleted uranium-tipped weapons. Because
but also they didn't say, because the Iraqi army was bombarded with millimeter waves. You remember that they was giving up in droves?
Yeah, that was the head-to-skull technology.
They was planting in the head that Allah said you need to give yourself up. Yes. And the millimeter waves.
Voice to skull.
Yeah, they was damaging the chromosomes, and. In this, and they get a lot of people, all the new generation, 500,000 kids. That is a lot for a one country.
Oh yeah, that's just fucking tragic. I can't even believe it.
That is the 5G for you. And I have one more example. Here in Norway, the military was using these motor torpedo boats, and they was using millimeter waves with this on these big arrays they had on the boats, and it was a big. It was going to the court systems many times because all of their kids was, missing arms and missing legs and, missing eyes and, incredible damage,
Yeah.
And this was coming back from this radiation, and this was millimeter waves.
Yeah, I think the depleted uranium was just a cover story to hide what really happened.
Yes, exactly.
Well, look, I mean, that may be true, but depleted uranium, because I mean,
of course, it's dangerous too.
It does the same thing. It's going to damage your DNA. It damages your chromosomes.
Yeah.
But one thing to realize is, look, what they did was they used this depleted uranium to destroy miles and miles of roadway worth of vehicles, of tanks and military and automobiles, trucks, cars. And then here's the thing. These people are so fucking poor over there. Pardon my language. These people are so poor over there, right? So many in poverty that they would go out to these wrecking yards, these fields of damaged vehicles, the highway to hell, they called it. And they would scrap metal. They would go and gather scrap metal for money. And they would buy, hanging around those areas, they're subjecting themselves to high levels of radiation.
Yeah, this I was in the cavalry, so I know a lot about this ammunition, and this. When you have a bullet from depleted uranium, it will shatter on impact,
Yes.
It will go through a brick wall, but it will shatter, and you get all this uranium spread in the environment, So every bullet, they fired, this they had this depleted uranium, you know, not rifle bullets, but bigger ammunition.
Yeah, 50 caliber and bigger.
Yeah, 50 caliber and up, you know. Yeah, everything, you know. So this is the way they are spreading this in the environment. It's not people going to fire. Of course, people can go to find stuff, you know, but every bullet they fire, you know, will shatter on impact on concrete or something else, and it will be spread in the environment. They will have the damage, you know, all around them. They will be radiated, you know, to oblivion. They will not die from the radiation, but the kids will, of course, they will be having cancer, you know. The clock will start to tick, you know, but it will damage the DNA before they be dead, you know. So that's why all the kids was, and they did it deliberately, you know, to having sanctions on the hospital, because they wanted to see the reaction. They wanted to, you know, to make a computer model on this, because they want to do it to everyone. It's psychopaths.
Yes, psychopaths, no doubt.
Yeah, psychopaths.
Hey, I wanted to jump in and make a comment on what you were talking about, Aaron, which is, you know, when you want to talk to your neighbors, talk to regular folks who are not as, let's say, scholarly, invested in looking far and wide and really considering some of this exotic material that we've been studying and sitting in for quite a while. And even in your advice, you sort of went into you know, pretty intense stuff, right? Which is like you know, pay attention to how the microwaves affect biology, and then it goes down into the chromosomes, and then it's generational and all of the even there, I feel like the majority of people would switch off their listening device, you know, after sentence 3. Yeah. So I would say something even more down to earth, which is like, are you having any differences with headaches? Are you having more or less headaches these days?
Nosebleeds, yeah.
Right, nosebleeds.
Yeah.
How has your digestion been?
Teenagers these days, girls, especially girls, a lot of girls are complaining of headaches and nosebleeds only when they're at school, by the way. Well,
there you go. There you go. And
exactly.
so I would say on a very grassroots level, collecting that kind of data and really checking in with each other, because humans are, you know, the more of us there are, the simpler the topics need to be, right? And I would say 2 people saying, yeah, I had 3 headaches last week, is way less impactful than saying, you know, hey, we've continued to talk about it. After this this tower went up near our school, we're finding that 30 or 40 or 50% of students are complaining about headaches, that we were not getting these complaints before, right? So, you know, I would just say go down to even that simple of a level, so that people sort of feel it, and then they start asking the question, why? Well, what's so bad about it? Could it actually be that thing? You know, could it be that technology that is encroaching upon me from every corner?
Well,
you know, maybe it's not all good, right? Okay.
No, that's a good point, Bart. That's an excellent point. It's a little more narrow and more direct than what I was suggesting, and you're right. If you get too technical, people will tune you out on the 3rd sentence. That's a good point. And I was going to say, unfortunately, it may require pulling out your smartphone and showing them a video right there on the spot. I do that all the time. I'm like, really? You want to see? And I pull out my phone and blah, 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 and I watch this for 2 minutes and bang. You know what I mean? So it's all, unfortunately, it may require the use of this current technology that we have to get people to wake up, to see, you know, pull out your phone and pull up that Barry Trower video and show them the little 2-minute clip where Barry talks about the baby, the doctor with the crib death. And then 5 years later, another crib in exact location bang, another crib death, and on the other side of the wall is a transmitter. So, you know, that wakes people up. It gets them to open their eyes. It makes their ears perk up. That's all you can do is lead a horse to water. You can't make people drink.
No,
yeah. Well, just one little thing before you start, Nils, which is you're sort of lamenting about the idea of using the very technology to demonstrate itself, and I've become very I've become a fan of this this phrase. The only way out is through, right? So
yeah, we need to go through this. We can't, you know, Bart, you're a smart guy. We can't avoid this. It's not possible. We need to go through it. Either we want it or not. We just need to accept it. We need to find the best way to do it. We need to have the smartest mind sitting down and finding out how can we can change, we can turn it around, we can't you know, but we need to find a model how to survive this crap, you know.
Well, that's it. Well, I think survival, self-defense, survival, awareness, and community. Each one teach one. Remain.
See what is working and see what is not working.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's the same solution that it's always been. And I was thinking about this earlier today, which is if the plan was to have destroyed us, it would have happened by now, right? If the plan was that there would hold on. Okay. That there would be no human life. We would have actually been able to do it. I think one of these great cosmic jokes that gets played is no matter how hard we try, we can't do it. And when we get tired and rest from trying to destroy each other, we find that we're in a better place than where we started from. And then rinse and repeat again and again and again. I know that might not be the same way that everybody looks at it, but I'm sort of pragmatic about it that way. It's like I don't get distracted by the squeaky wheel. I'm always trying to look at big trends, and I think there's more happy, more healthy, more sane people per, not necessarily even per capita, but in overall number today than there ever have been. And maybe that's the system as it works. Maybe that's actually the best we could hope for until we can hope for something better. Okay, I think, over to you, Amy.
I think we can hope for better. In fact, we can work for better. But what I wanted to point out is that when you said if they were going to destroy us, well, yeah, if they were going to destroy all of us, probably. But I don't think they want to destroy all of us. They just want to destroy enough of us to the point that we can be controlled 100%. And I think that the only reason they haven't done it yet is that they're working, they're into their numerology. I mean, seriously into their numerology, and they have set up waiting for that right date that has all the right numbers.
Yes,
whatever that date might be.
Yes, Amy, but you see, they need to have certain things in place before they can do stuff, because they are doing everything on computer models, they are doing, false flag, terrorist attacks, and they are monitoring everything that's going on and see people's reaction. You need to understand that you're basically in a big lab here,
Well, apparently I didn't sign up for it. I don't consent.
No. They didn't ask anyone.
I know that.
Ask anyone,
Well, I think that they actually do think they're asking us in their very esoteric and
Yeah. If you say no, if you say no, well, they think you say yes. Yeah.
Well, I think more to the point is that they get implied consent because they say, well, in this obscure and esoteric way, we told you and you didn't say no, so that means you said yes.
Yeah, you didn't protest.
I think
you didn't go out in the street and protest, you know, so that's right. Why you're accepting it. No, but
exactly.
So
you didn't say you do not consent.
We got about 20 minutes left. I'm curious, Nils, do you know anything about this D-Wave technology?
Oh yeah.
Quantum computing that they're talking about?
Yes.
They talking about communicating with other dimensions. Do you buy into that? Do you think they're really doing that?
Yeah, definitely. Because they're talking to the fallen angels, and these are the ones that have been presenting them with all the technology.
What evidence do we have that's what's happening? What evidence is there to support that?
Nikola Tesla. Look at his inventions, you know, and his own words, you know, how he come to these conclusions and how he was guided through all his life with his inventions. They are fantastic, you know. You can't. A normal guy cannot sit down and invent the stuff he did, you know. It's not possible, you know.
No, even I don't know about that. I don't know about
that. No, but anyway, all this new technology that you know, is going so fast now. If you look at computer technology, if you look at artificial intelligence, what I don't believe all is artificial, but is guided by the fallen ones. You see. It's one more thing. The quantum computer is a really good code breaker, a really great code breaker, and the heaven is built up in 7 heavens over the firmament. In the 4 steps that are over the firmament is a passcode and the guarded gate. And they want to break into heaven, these crazy guys, you know. It's actually stating in the Bible when the saved people are coming up to the wedding with Jesus Christ, someone is there that's not supposed to be there. And they are thrown out. And that is the proof, you know, that they're going to be successful with the code breaking. Because the fallen angels, they're not happy about being kicked out of heaven. Like the prince of the power of the air, he's saying he wants to be like God. He wants to have a throne like him, you know. He have a throne over us, you know, but he is in the lowest part of the heaven, you know.
Nils, can I ask you a question about? So I find your perspectives interesting, and I'm actually familiar with quite a few people who let's say in these days and times are doing this sort of merger of Christianity and realism, right? And then they're saying, well, you know, and they're comparing it to biblical verse, biblical prophecy,
the merging of science and religion.
And I think that that's an absolutely valid way through. It's at least you're doing a parallel processing, right? Where you're comparing and contrasting two pretty disparate modalities, and then arriving at your own conclusions through that process. But I wanted to ask you, did you, in your path, did you come to study biblical topics recently in life, or have you been?
Oh yeah,
Okay, so it was
only maybe 2 years. You know, I've been studying the biblical. Yeah.
And before that, you were sort of socialist, secular, good Norwegian with no religion. This kind of
no, something was wrong. You know, I was trying to figure out what was wrong with the, you know, with the company I was working with the society around us. Something is off, you know, and you know that is one rabbit hole and another. You know, Art Bell, you know, Steve Quayle, you know, Hagman show, you know, and everyone rejected onto something new, you know. And
And you're looking for something more stable, more traditional, more certain, and biblical literature satisfies that sort of yearning within you. Is that would that be fair to say?
I'm looking for truth. You know, I'm tired of all the lies. You know, so when you see the people. The people that is inventing this quantum computer, they're saying all this stuff themselves. You know, they're not hiding the fact that they are you know, Elon Musk is sitting and talking about how you can make a demon follow your commands. You know, Eric Ladzinski, that is the co-founder and chief scientist, he is talking about this computer that is talking to the other side. You see, and look at, you know, Skull and Bones, John Kerry. You know, he's going down to Antarctica, that is ice ring, you know, and flying 2.5 hours inside the country and having a meeting. He's meeting what, Santa Claus? It's just, you can't make this stuff up, you know.
Oh yeah, and the
actually, wait, before you, okay, I just want to address that.
Yeah.
Actually, you can make this stuff up, right? And I'm actually
they're doing it all the time.
Yeah. So I've actually hit a little bit of a snag in my own research, where a lot of the things that I've been studying over the last 10, 15, 20 years that I gave a certain amount of credence to, I'm now pulling back and saying, it looks like that was a long con game up until now. And so I'm actually in the middle of a deep reevaluation process myself. So I just wanted to add a little levity to the idea of, you can't make this shit up, you know. So but the press for truth, but the desire for truth is, if you put that way up at the top of your list of priorities and values, then I think that as a human you're going about it, you know, in a pretty good way. So
you see, they want to hack our minds.
The royal you.
They want to hack our minds, you know, and because they have a hand that feeds them, you know, and the fallen angels, they care about just their offspring. They don't care about any people at all. They only care about the offspring that is already dead, but they're missing a certain part, and that's a body. So they're gonna hijack people's bodies, you know, and you will be demonized via the 5G net, you know. And but you need to accept it because you have free will. But if you have, because we need to look at this Monarch program and MK Ultra, that was the test bed, you know, for this instant demonization with the 5G. It's already perfected. They just need to roll it out. And you see, they already in Seattle, they're already doing these waves on homeless people and trying it out, you know, to see if they can demonize them. And do you know what a zombie is?
I'm sorry.
That is a person, a zombie.
Yes, zombie.
A zombie.
Oh, zombie.
A zombie.
Yes. Zombie. Sorry.
A zombie is
accent.
Yeah, a zombie is a person that is demonized with the 5G. He is attacking people. He's biting them. You know. He is. You know, the offspring. They was eating people. They was drinking blood. They're doing just the same thing. These giants, you know, but this is in a hijacked body. This is what they want to do. This crazy.
And it seems, well, it seems like it's also being done in a more civilized way, right? It's under the cover of civilized. I coined a phrase the other day accidentally. Yeah. I was thinking that there's something about civilization that can cause illness, right? So being civilized, being domesticated, getting out of in touch with a sort of wild, free spirit of humanness, which is not to say that one shouldn't be kind and social and all of these things, but I'm saying, you know, like forced domestication, and so the word I came up with was civ-illness, right? So it's like the illness that one feels from buying in too much into civilization and being simultaneously betrayed by it. So I thought I would throw that out there, see if that sticks to the wall.
Yeah. No, this is absolutely horrific what they want to do, you know, and they will not do it worldwide straight away. They will do it like they always do. They will try out one beta test, you know, a full scale test on a city or an area or some to look and read my lips, you know. This will be the zombie virus.
Yes.
The zombie virus. And what do you need to do then? You need to start to vaccinate people. Here we go, you know. This is the game plan.
Well, when I think of the zombie thing, and zombies have been this trope in media and movies and comic books for quite a while, and I would say that it's hit a whole new crescendo within the last, I don't know, 5-6 years.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it seems like the zombie movie is like, it's a whole genre unto itself. You know, it branched off from the horror genre, and now it's a big, the same way I would say like video games became their entire, you know, an entire industry, and now are eclipsing the entire movie industry. There's more spent on video games than on movies. But my point is, the zombie thing is like a metaphor. It acts as a metaphor for me, which is, what are the zombies all hungry for? Right? They're all hungry for brains. Yeah. Right, so it's the idea of the brain, like humans who've had their brains scooped out and disconnected from them, and they're walking around and they have the sense of, I want my brain back, right? But because their brains are fried, the only way that they can conceive of it is, I have to eat someone else's brain to get my brain back, right? They're that stupefied, and so on a metaphorical level, oh my goodness, I mean, I have this feeling walking around town, and I live in a pretty neat little town, but I would say every third person to me that I look in their, if I can see their eyes, I look in their eyes, they're dead. They're dead eyes. There's nobody home.
Yep. It's just the stupefaction with all society, and this is the TV, you know.
Yes.
The TV. This is guaranteed, you know. It's the newer TV you have, the worse it gets, you know, because it will be on a whole different level of mind control, and it's mind control because you can sit and talk. I talk with you guys. You remember everything I said last time, you know, and you're researching this. But if you talk to someone else, you know, you can talk with them and you can explain to them, and next time you meet them, they forget everything.
Yeah.
Why is that? This is serious stuff. You should never ever forget this ever in your life.
I know. It's probably the most important stuff you could even consider. All these subjects is worthy of study and research and remembering.
Yeah.
But you're speaking to a group of people who recognize the importance and the relevance, and we take it seriously, and that's why we remember.
But you don't go to bed and you wake up with a cursor standing and blinking in the upper left corner. You're not emptying out your mind overnight, you know.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You remember that you're just building on what you've been researching before, you know. But other people, they're like, you know, you can talk and they just forget about it. It's just like, and they can start to talk about, you know, mundane things, you know, and they're just not affected at all.
Well, I guess the full-time job and the baby that needs burped and the lawn that needs mowed and the fluoride in the water is doing its job. I mean, we're up against something pretty massive here, and we all recognize that it's so hard to, like you make a great point, Nils. You try to tell somebody and you might get them engaged for a few minutes and you might blow their mind. They're like, wow. And you're absolutely right, Nils. The very next day, it's out of their mind. They never think about it again. They won't go tell somebody else about it.
No, never ever.
Say, hey, did you know you won't believe what this guy told me yesterday, and I found out it turns out it's true. I don't understand. There's a huge disconnect, and we're as mystified as you are.
Oh, I'm not mystified. And I think Nils and I think we all agree that this is the TV has programmed us to be this way, right? It's that soundbite culture. It is that that idea of the 6 o'clock news. Every day we bring you the news. It's the same thing, but it's completely different. But it's the same thing, but it's completely different, right? And so
the brain becomes
that pattern, that pattern, right? And talk about microwaves, etc. This is all MK Ultra stuff, and it's all waves and waveforms, these are just the latest iterations of this. But that whole, hold on, I'm almost done. That phenomenon, specifically what you talk about, that is the turning on and turning off of the TV, the daily program that runs in a certain cycle. It conditions the human being to, every day is a brand new day. Slate is clean.
Brainwashed.
And every bit of information is as valuable as any other bit of information. As long as sort of entertaining and hits an emotional button, well, then it goes into the same category of, same degree of importance. Well, on to the next thing. So,
I just wanted to say that while I agree with everything you said, I think there's one other element that's involved here. You have, I don't know if you've ever read William Glasser's choice theory, but I highly recommend it. And from my experimentation, it is not theory. It is an axiom, perhaps. At any rate, one of the things that people have is what they call their quality world. And this is where they build their image of the world and it works for them, whether what they put in there is the truth or lies or whatever. But when something comes along to challenge that quality world, they are far more likely to just blow it off without looking at the data, and they are also inclined to forget things that somehow challenge the way that they perceive things.
Yeah, political correctness, that is a very dangerous thing. I think that can be very deadly, This is, people say, oh, it's a light in the end of the tunnel. Yeah, of course. It's a train coming, you need to step off from the tracks.
I say, yes, political correctness is horrible, but I say political anything is dangerous.
Yeah, it's very dangerous.
Yes.
You shouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, you should. Yeah, no, well, this is,
I was just going to say that as far as police dangerous, in the ideas that I present, there is an idea that we eliminate political in favor of solving problems. And, I won't go in too much depth, but to be sure, I'll be linking to my work when I upload this to my channel. And and if you want
you will be studied very closely, Amy.
I hope so. I hope so. I
will go through all your videos, and look at your work. It's very good.
It's been my life's work, and I've been at I put everything finally together about a decade ago, maybe a little more.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been working on sharing awareness of it ever since. So,
yeah,
you know, my unpaid work for recognition and love and caring a lot more than any piece of shit, piece of junk money that I would get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't need to be paid for everything, you know that. It's called integrity, you know.
Well, and that's what the whole system that I put together is built upon, is the idea that we have social currencies. And a hell of a lot of what we do each day is done for social currency. You want me to help you with that, dear? Love, appreciation, thanks. You know, you're not saying, hey, I'll help you with that, dear, if you give me $3 or 3 krone or, you know, whatever. You know,
krones,
we do things a lot just for these social currencies that we acquire. And frankly, if I could live as richly as I wanted to do, I would be doing an awful lot just because people appreciate what I do. And I know that maybe not every human on this planet would do that, but most of us would, especially if we're in there solving problems that affect us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm off my soapbox now.
No, but we need to look at all opportunities here. We need to look at every single thing, because you know, we are grasping at straws here. You know, we are just sitting and finding out what all the problems are, but we didn't talk about solutions. We probably need another 3-hour program, you know, for that.
Well, hey, you know, it's good. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming up. No, this is a very big thing, you know, this 5G. But I hope people that listening in tonight, you know, can feel the gravity, you know, because when you start to pull everything in, you know, like Bart is saying, you can see everything is coming together, you know, all these different things, and they are connected. They're connected, and then you start to see how the elephant looks, you know, and it's not pretty at all, you know.
There is definitely a sense out there and in me that things are coming together and congealing in a much different way than ever before. And of course, I'm careful to keep checking in with myself that I don't fall into some sort of you know, self-fulfilling prophecy kind of situation. But I can't also deny that the more I look, the more things seem connected, and the more synchronicities are happening, and there just seems to be a different flow to things these days than I've ever detected or experienced before in my life. And I've been looking for that, right? So I've been studying this and looking for that, and really had my antenna primed. And I'll tell you, over the last couple of months, it seemed way more intense than ever before. I don't think it's just a function of being here now.
So listen, you guys, let's spend just a few minutes. Let's do a couple of minutes of overtime. And I want to engage everybody in the chat and everybody on the panel. Solutions. Does anybody have any freaking idea beyond what we already know to be true, which is exposure, talking about it, waking people up? You know, we got to get a lot of people on board. Is there anything that, look, we have a small group of people in the world that are awake to these things. What can we do? Anybody have any idea on
say?
Well, then Amy, you're out. We know what you're going to say.
Can I go first?
Go, sure. Bart. Go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Magnesium.
No, well, I mean, what does it?
No. I'm going to start with magnesium, and then the whole idea of you know, taking another look at vitamins, supplements, right? Building up your body. What can you do? And then what can you do very cheaply?
Well, that's
and very immediately and dedicate yourself to it and form a discipline around it so that you continue to reinforce your own self-worth and self-healing, mind over matter kind of stuff, meditation. I mean, I keep mentioning sort of the same things, but I really do think that those are archaic forms are in fact the solutions as we run up against the the jittery, frenetic energy of this technocracy, this techno enslavement system. The best solutions are, they're going to come from within, and a sense of not certainty, but being in touch with yourself, and a sense of your own dignity, and a sense of resistance, and not, we're just refusing to be pushed around, and refusing to comply to things that that you either don't understand or don't agree with. You just got to stand up. This is my 2 cents.
Does anybody think that what is coming, Bart, by the way, those are great ideas. I agree with you. A lot of people do. Those are ideas that people can do for themselves to improve their lives and to remove themselves as individuals from the system little by little. Stop going to Walmart, stop buying their bullshit. There's a lot of things that people can do as individuals to remove themselves from being part of the problem. And that's great. You can grow your own food, that kind of stuff. You take care of yourself, live for yourself. Those are all great ideas for an individual. Does anybody think that this can be stopped? Does anybody think there's any way that this, whatever is coming in our future, whoever's running this fucking planet into the ground, does anybody believe that there's a way to stop the horrible future that's coming? Amy, you're not included.
It's gonna be stopped, but it's a few years ahead still, and we need to survive before that time comes, So I think the most important thing is strategic relocation. People need to start to think about where they're living, because in a city, no, I don't think so. It's not gonna fly, because you're gonna be bombarded. And I can say one thing of, when I was living in Klaipėda in Lithuania, it was quite a big city in Eastern Europe. One morning I was driving my daughter to kindergarten. They was exercising, closing off the city, They closed all highways, and everything was just a gigantic traffic cork, And they was putting up fences, and they had everything, And later that day, the ferries, was boarded by the military, this SWAT teams, while they was going, civilian ferries, normal ferries. So then I was finding out, this is probably not the best place to stay. And, it was coming on railway cars. It was coming, miles and miles and miles of American war materials, Humvees and tanks and everything was just rolling in, So, the cities is a trap, The cities is a big trap. You will be trapped there, and you need to walk out, because they would shut off the cars. But I think the system is gradually being rolled out. But at some point, shit is gonna hit the fan. They will start to shoot at us. They will start to arrest us and put us in camps. But I think they want to do it on a smaller scale first. And I think Seattle is one of the best candidates,
Yeah, a lot of people seem to think Seattle is in the crosshairs.
Yeah, but I live as far away as from people as I can. Still have a lights on, And I will fight this tooth and nail, Yeah, no, we all have a choice,
Well, I guess I have a choice, I'm. My situation is I'm disabled. I've been denied assistance. I am destitute, and I'm technically homeless, living by the grace of friends who let me crash at their place and use their Wi-Fi and hang out. And if I didn't have that, I'd be on the street in the cold, in the snow, because it's snowing here now. And so I'm very grateful to have such friends, but it's not much choice.
No,
you know?
no.
It's in the city, and you know, what am I going to do?
I'm not saying that everyone will do, but please consider it. You know.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
It's just probably people are listening, and they will be listening for a longer time if they don't shut your channel down, Aram. But you know, everyone need to look at the book. It's called Strategic Relocation. You know, I can't remember the author. You know, but he's a very brilliant man. You know? And he is talking about this stuff. But this is not about prepping. This is about moving to a place where you have a chance not to be radiated to death. You know.
That makes sense to me. The one of these things that keeps coming back into my own mind is move out to the country, have a farm, be self-sustainable, and breathe better air, drink better water, and eat healthier food.
Hey Bart, if you have a farm, do you want a disabled old lady there?
Of course, we'll put you in the barn.
Awesome.
No, we'd probably give you a room or two, of course.
Oh, that would be so nice. Let's do it. I'm ready.
I know it's. Is anybody familiar with the novel Candide by Voltaire? Anybody?
I haven't read it.
Here's a quick. I want to say 1800s. It was written, and here's the idea. So Candide is the character is born into privilege. He lives in a castle. I think his father is the king. His tutor or mentor is the world's greatest philosopher, Pangloss, who believes that we live in the best of all possible worlds. And one day, and he's in love with the princess, I think, from the neighboring town, and everything's going well, and they're going to be married soon. But basically, one thing after another thing happens, and they all get screwed, and they all, he gets conscripted into the army. He gets defeated by another army. They conscript him into their army. He gets kidnapped by pirates. Anyway, at the very, very end of it, they all end up together, completely battered and bruised, on a little plot of land, living in a little house with a small farm, animals, and each other, and their life experience. And the whole idea is all of that stuff could have been avoided if they had just been scaled down from the beginning, got on a little plot of land, lived on a little farm. Everything would have been hunky-dory, right? So it's a good little book. It's maybe like 80, 90 pages. I think you could read it in a couple hours. But it's it's a classic. Voltaire.
Oh yeah. Well, I know Voltaire, and I've read some of his stuff, but certainly not all of it.
Yeah, he was like the Mark Twain of his time and place. Go ahead.
Yeah, and at some point we need to drop the phones, you know, because they will come after us, and they will try to find us, and you know, if they're not gonna point, this microwave gun in your face, you know, and try to kill you that way, they will come after us. We all have red flags on our backs, you know. We need to understand that, because
yes, we do,
stuff, and it's not allowed. We need that's a fact, you know.
Yeah.
But sooner or later we will sit as long as we can, talk about this stuff on computer. But you see this ICANN, UN and China, they're ruling the internet now since 1st of October last year, and that's a fact. And you see they are cramping down on everyone that is opening their mouth and speaking the truth. You know, it's just they try to smash us to the ground. But we need to sit and be vocal about this as long as we can. But at some point, we need to vanish.
Or if we implement what I suggest, we won't have to. But we'll leave that for people to explore.
They can explore it. But I'm just saying we need to understand the gravity. But I don't want to paint everything black, because it's not. You can be saved by Jesus Christ, and we need to go through this all together. I'm not saying that, because I just been saved for 2.5 years. So I've been there. I know what it is. But it's absolutely helping to be saved, because you like me, I was putting so much together by that, and it's the end of the world, or like they're saying, the end of the world is the end of the evil world. They are the ones going to be crushed, in the end. So,
yeah, I'm interested in that concept, right? The end of the world. Okay, which world, right? I think that's an important question to ask. Because when one says it, doesn't ask any question, well, then that leaves it wide open. So if you want to believe that the world means the entire universe, then okay, then that it could mean that the end of the world could also be the time when you personally die, because your world ended, right? There's no more world for you, so that's the end of the world, technically. It could be the end of the world in one way or another. I like what you said, Nils. It's the end of an evil world. I think that's a really great possibility. I'm also interested in this idea of, sometimes I think, like especially with the Maya stuff, the Mayan prophecies, where they were talking about, when they were reframing what the Maya were saying, they actually weren't saying it was the end of the world. They were saying that it was the end of time, right? And so when you like from a more Christian perspective, especially the way it's spoken about here in the States, this idea of the end times, right? The end of the world, the end times. And sometimes those two concepts kind of get conflated, where, if you say the end of time, that means the end of the world. And if you mean the end of the world, that means the end of time. Not necessarily so. I'm really interested in that concept of the end of time, because I think that it may have actually happened, that we are now living in the post end of time season, if you will, where we've worked really hard to keep things as stable as possible, but we are actually living in a different kind of time right now. I don't know, something to think about.
Yeah, it's called bad times.
They're not all bad though.
Yeah.
I refuse
Of course, they're not all bad. They're not all bad. No, but I just, I think we know too much. We know too much.
Yeah, a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing, as they say.
Yeah, a lot of knowledge is even worse.
But then if you ever think about how much knowledge is out there to be had, and then how much you're actually holding, then that sort of changes the ratios around what a lot is. So
as more we're learning, we just understand how little we actually
exactly know. I try to do that exercise a couple times a week, and it helps me stay humble.
We need to stay humble. We don't know it all. We're just sharing information here, guys.
Yeah, totally. And it's been a real pleasure to have you with us today, Nils. If I could speak
I'm very
for
happy.
all of us.
You guys, it's been awesome. Nils, final thoughts, you guys? Let's wrap this up. Final thought.
My final thought is I'm going to get the outro queued up, and
one at a time. Try again.
My final thought is that the internet neutrality, we'll have to leave that for some other time. But no, it's been great, Nils. I I seriously enjoyed it, and if you round after we go unlive, and we can.
You have totally. You're cutting out completely. Like we got 3 out of 10 words.
Oh.
So you want to try that one more time?
What did you get? Everything?
No,
nothing.
No, just try again.
Okay, I said unfortunately we didn't get to the net neutrality issue, and but we'll save for another time. And it's been an absolute pleasure, Nils, talking with you, and I look forward to vacation.
Yeah, that's good. And it's been an absolute pleasure to talk with you guys, because you're excellent. You're very bright, and you are, it's a light point, in all the struggle with all the people that don't want to listen and don't, because we bounce off each other. We need to. Oh yeah. We need to figure this out.
No, that's why I came. Sorry, Aaron. That's why I came on board. I had never done any video, any chats, any Skyping, anything, and then I ran into
Bart. Start again, Bart.
Okay, was it choppy?
Terrible.
Sorry. Okay, I was just saying, Nils, that Amy and Aaron and the guy who was here before me, Ian. They had the that's what attracted me to come in and be a guest first, and then it worked out that I joined on as a co-host, and it's because of the way Amy and Aaron are. They are very open, very knowledgeable, and very kind, and I think fair, and they're after, they have the right value sets, and so they really helped me come out and be bold and confident in speaking my mind, because they gave such warm terrain for that to happen, and I sense that you're picking that up as well. So just the way that just the way it happened for me, I hope it also happens for you and leads to more meetings with more like-minded people and a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment and onward, good onward progress in your path, and I hope you find the things you're looking for, and do well for your family and for yourself.
Oh, thank you very much, and likewise, likewise, Bart.
Thank you, Nils.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay.
Well, it really has been a pleasure, Nils. One of the things I love most about doing this show with partners like Bart and Ian and Amy, one of the things I really love the most is just being able to connect with people all over the world, expanding my horizons and learning about things that I would never learn about, like just being able to talk to a guy in Norway for me as a dumb American. That's just, next week I'll be talking to, people in UK or Australia. We've had guests on here from Moscow, all over the world. It's fantastic. So it's really the best tool. I used to have a phrase regarding the internet that I used to say that it's the best thing our masters have ever let us have. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
yeah, we can share opinions and feelings and thought and problems. Something that boggles my mind: how can I sit and talk to an American without any delay on my voice?
Well, because electricity moves at the speed of light, they say.
Just wait till 5G rolls out. You'll love it.
I gonna love it. I gonna talk before I know what I'm saying.
Exactly. I was
straight in my mind.
Well, I was going to say that the conversation will actually run backwards into time, because because the message will be received before it was even said, and then we'll have a singularity collapse, but we won't even know it. So
pre-crime, pre-crime.
Well, I've got one note here that I didn't get through. Actually, a couple of them, but let me throw this out there. Facebook starts global rollout of AI suicide prevention tools.
Oh, joy.
Really?
Okay, sorry. I have an immediate reaction.
What it does, I know, right? What it does is,
it means the opposite. It means the opposite of what it says there.
Well, here's
what it definitely kill you,
Here's what it says it does. It says this is a monitoring long language, and not just monitoring language and things like how it's how fast you scroll, how fast you go from page to page, or you flip through and scroll through a page, and it's like
What is that?
This is the AI program being rolled out by Facebook and other tech giants like Google, but mainly Facebook right now. This is the article, and it monitors how fast you scroll. You know what I mean? It's like all of your nuanced behaviors.
Wow.
And it tries to predict whether or not you're sad. If you scroll really slow, unusually slow for you, because obviously it'll recognize your personal behavior on average. And then if you one day, if it's extra slow, you'll be picked out of the crowd. You'll be targeted for potentially being depressed.
If you're browsing for coffins.
The article is Facebook.
Coughing liners, how the coffin look and how it feels, If you're going to a funeral home and start to lie down in the coffins, that's a sure sign.
Yeah. This is not about suicide prevention. Okay, this is about targeting people for what they are calling mental disorders.
Yeah.
Because if you notice from all the false flag shootings, bombings, et cetera, every single freaking time, it's a lone guy with a mental disorder.
Yeah.
Yep.
You'll hear mental disorder. You'll hear those words, mentally disturbed, mental disorder. You'll hear those words at some point in every one of these freaking stories, every single time. So there's predictive programming right there for sure.
Oh,
but they want to medicate us.
That's right. That's where I was going with this.
Yes, they do.
And they don't want to have one medication. They want to have a lot of,
And they want people to be aware that this is happening. Because here's the article. If they didn't want us aware, it would be secret. This article is for the purpose of making you aware it's happening. But why would they do that? Here's why. I'm going to tell you why. They want you to know that they're monitoring your behavior for suicide prevention. That way, when your friend next door goes missing and the state shows up,
he committed suicide. Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. And I also
that way they can come to my house and your house and Bart's house and Amy's house, and one at a time we just fucking disappear.
Yeah. Black helicopter landing, 20 minutes. I calculated out. It's just the time they need to extract someone.
And for the most part, it'll be quiet and nobody will say a word. But when somebody raises a stink, and if they have to make an excuse, they can say, well, we detected this. Our AI systems detected he was depressed and we got him in here for evaluation. And sure enough, this guy's got problems. Hey, you've talked to him, right? Isn't he a crazy conspiracy guy?
Yeah.
So bang, bada bing, bada boom, you're fucking gone.
Yeah. 2 o'clock in the night they're coming.
There may be an element of telling us what they're going to do, and if we don't say we don't consent, that means it's a go. Well, I don't consent to it. I'm going to say right now, I don't consent to that, period. Leave me alone.
Final words from me, just bring it on,
Well, my final words.
I would say yes. Bring it on and leave me alone.
I guess my final words are: I just can't wait for this life to be over. I'm not suicidal. I'm not.
No, I'm not.
Make that very clear. I'm not suicidal.
I am not suicidal either. If I should suddenly die, you know.
I look forward to the end because this place is fucked up.
Yeah. No. They're gonna feel it. If they can bleed, you know, these guys coming after me, you know, they're gonna feel it, and I know they're listening in, you know.
Of course they are. They're more than listening in.
Yeah.
They're not only recording every. They're watching your mouse and how fast you move your mouse cursor.
They hate me.
They're monitoring how fast you scroll through a fucking page. That is disturbing.
That is disturbing. They no permission from me.
Privacy much? All right, you guys.
Yeah.
Neil,
anyway,
I'd say
thank you.
I'd say you don't want to get rid of me. I make you laugh. I'm a funny guy. You don't want to get rid of the funny guys.
He does. He cracks us up. Listen, everybody, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. We are 30 minutes overtime, Nils. It's
all right.
Wow. And we're going to take a break, I think. So this might be our last show until the first of the year. We'll send out a notification to, promo video. If maybe we'll do a show next week, we'll talk about it. But for now, tentatively, this is our last show till the first of the year. So everybody have a good holiday. Love
See
to
you
everybody.
Next year.
Yeah. Have a good holiday, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year if you don't see each other again over on the other side.
You got the outro ready, Bob?
2018.
Almost. Okay.
Stick around.
Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Do a little chatting after we drop the program.
Right on. Much love to everybody. Be good.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone.
Is the music going? Is it going?
No, it's not. we could
no
hum
sound.
All right, you guys. All right, I'm killing the broadcast. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next year. Bye.